lot.
Well, last time we saw FaZe play this at the beginning, you had too easy on Widow, and I would rather Shadowburn on Hanzo than too easy on Widow right now, bad pick.
Yeah, and as far as it goes here, really the only McCree that we've seen just completely shut down Shadowburn on a one-to-one basis. I mean, we've seen Shadowburn get shut down as Genji plenty of times, but a lot of it comes down to team efforts and all the rest. The one-to-one counter was clearly sure for. Will Jesus have that same old McCree play? Maybe, but it's going to be tough.
Yep, so kind of just very standard. This defense is not holding in the cart. No surprise rush on the defense here. You know, I would have liked to see it again, but very standard on both sides. No dive composition coming in from the offense. Just about as standard can be. The one possible wrinkle is this Shadowburn Hanzo. We'll see if he can get some entry kills.
And Shadowburn, his Hanzo has had some good results from time to time. I'm still not convinced that it's as good as him just getting a super quick Dragon Blade on Genji, and that's a more Shadowburn specific thing, and it's a little bit difficult for Hanzo to get the early pick off here, especially if people are being more defensive on the top part. It's a rougher Hanzo area, but right now he does have good positioning, has potential, but will just get sleep darted and turn his defense being a little bit more aggressive, and this seems to be Kingdom style where they do go full in as Juvenile, a reckless charge, immediately punished. Too easy picking up 2 quick kills, and as we talked about, this has been a good night for Too Easy.
Yeah, Too Easy opening it up, taking out his counter number 2. Actually, I really do like Shadowburn on the Hanzo here, just based on the style that Kingdom plays, is they're going to be very aggressive and jump down, and Hanzo can feast on that when teams try to collapse on you, just holding the high ground. No one was able to prioritize him. No real threat to the Hanzo. Once he was kind of dodging the entire time, you would hear a hook come out, then go in and start raining down arrows.
Here it comes. Dragon Strike just going to be sealing off one of the pathways right now. Not that hungry with Dragon, not going to eat any kills here. But Soundbear will be coming out here from the offensive phase as they just try and routinely secure this last point, but Too Easy getting sleep darted. Kingdom trying to keep open the hope for anything here. Juvenile with the Nano Boost doesn't get anything off it. Gonna charge into Too Easy. Has the Earth Shatter, but this is getting awfully messy as FaZe is still cleaning up the kills they need to.
A very uncoordinated defense as they sent 2 tanks in to the right. They got segmented off and cleaned up, and they sent everyone else in bottom left and top left. They all came in from different sides and angles, and that has been kind of one of their strategies. Kingdom, create chaos, make these fights messy, turn them into skirmishes, but a really nice response from FaZe as they just had coordination. They ended up taking every one of those duels in a one-sided fashion because they simply had the numbers in place, used a couple ultimates when they had to. So they are going to be at an ultimate disadvantage, but not for long, and you're going to have a Graviton Dragon Strike combination about at the ready.
Graviton Dragon Strike, one of the best ways of breaking a point wide open. The team has to go for a lot of resources to just survive it. Jesus takes down Shadowman pretty early in this fight, but here comes the Earth Shatter in from Juvenile, rolling in, picks up 2. And that is going to be the first defensive hold here from the side of the one and only Kingdom as they're going to put FaZe back. But FaZe, to their credit, they didn't really expend too much in the way of resources there. They did use an Earth Shatter. That's about it. They will be able to Graviton Dragon Strike moving in, so well, they might retake their momentum pretty early here.
Well, they might be under the illusion that they're now ahead in ultimates, considering that they didn't use any, but that was great economy from Kingdom. They only used 2, and they got so much value out of it. They're going to have another 4 up, and they're still in the ult lead.
Kingdom used only what they needed to use there, but Juvenile gonna get slept here immediately, was going pretty aggro in, immediately punished, but it's opening up things here for Jesus. Jesus gets the backline, takes down Forsaken with some well-placed shots, and just going to fan Shadowburn right down. So Juvenile, the noble sacrifice there for the side of Kingdom, and it works out. Buys them another team fight.
Kingdom team fights on maps differently than I've seen other teams fight. A lot of teams will concede this first 60 or so meters so that they can prioritize holding the high ground with their tanks as a group together, watch left and right side. This is a collapsing defense, and every time they come in, they seem like they're going to be able to set something up, but here comes a grab, here comes a Dragon Strike.
Graviton in the Dragon. How hungry is this Dragon? Hungry enough to eat a Reinhardt. Juvenile going to fall. Not much more than that. Not necessarily the best conversion of that ult economy, and 2 people are down right now for the side of Kingdom, but they can recover this a little bit earlier in the point than FaZe might like. But the hook from Too Easy doesn't result in a kill. Zarya with the save.
Yeah.
Still could have been huge.
Misses is flanking around the backside here, and he's got a Deadeye up. They do not see him just yet. He's trying to get in a weird position up over the top, so he wants to take down Ruckus and then Deadeye behind it. He's McCreeping. He's McCreeping. Misses his
going for Ruckus, takes that. Oh no! Nano boost Deadeye going in, doesn't care about the sound barrier, just moving in. Say goodnight, Jesus, with the 4K.
What a beautiful setup too. He took a long way around. He got his McCreep on, the crouch walk up the stairs to eliminate Ruckus. Nano boost onto him, 4K Deadeye, beautiful play. 40 seconds left for FaZe to push this second point.
That was well executed all across the board by Kingdom. It wasn't just a one-man play. Certainly, he was able to get himself in position for that. Oh, hold the phone. Shadowburn saying, simple geometry, no more crazy McCree plays. Here comes FaZe once more. And Shadowburn in a great position now to pick up the double kill. Looking for Ana, takes her out. And this is going to be a wave of FaZe just washing over Kingdom. And the way this point is, I'm not sure Kingdom is going to be able to actually come out and defend this. So we will be going into last with not that much time left on the clock.
2EZ's Whole Hogs have been probably the best part of his Roadhog game tonight. A lot of times Whole Hog is kind of an afterthought, a throwaway, using desperation to clean up switch fights. He's used it to such great positioning advantage. He's always taking the correct angle, so where his team needs to be. He's almost using it as a de facto Reinhardt shield of, we need to take this angle, everyone get behind me, I will put them where we need to do to get these kills. His Whole Hogs have been great tonight.
Connor right now moving up. We'll have that Whole Hog at the ready in just a moment. Soundbear is up here for the defense. Defense about to have a whole lot of ults up and ready in just a moment. They should be able to push this back, but if they wait a little bit to do it, they're going to win the map outright. This is dangerous positioning here, but Jesus, picked off by 2EZ. A 6v5 power play coming up here for the offense, and they can really take advantage. They're going to push the defense back. The defense needs to not feed anything here, but 2EZ again going fishing, reels in a big one. Man of Snow lucky to be back, but now the defense has to go in. It's terrible positioning, and Shadowbird with the Dragon Strike Graviton combo set up by Forsaken. That is one hungry dragon, and suddenly, just like that, FaZe in a great position to finish out this map.
Well, that was set up by the hook from 2EZ that forced the sound barrier out early. They had no defense to that combo afterwards.
Shadowburn. Sound barrier up here for the offense. In comes the Earthshare, though, from Juvenile. Knocks down 4. Will it be enough? As defense struggling to make the most of this. Jesus in the back. Takes on Factor Fiction. Not a whole lot of HP. Gonna be coming to this fight light. But another dragon. And another hook coming out from 2EZ. FaZe well on their way to finishing this out. Defense just struggling to delay it, but very likely not going to be enough.
Well, the Diva on delay is always a good thing. They are going to get her out there. Here comes a Winston on delay too, so this wick from overtime will start burning quicker and quicker.
Overtime, though, still in progress, and every kill going away of FaZe. Even a cute little sleep dart coming out there from Ruckus. It's still it's good delay coming out from Kingdom to at least keep the hope alive, but not going to be enough. They drain every last bit of time off the clock, so we'll see how Kingdom does on their own attack. If they're able to complete the map with any time left, they'll be at a bit of an advantage, but other than that, good on FaZe to come in and deal with what was a bad ult situation and last and turn it to their advantage. Big plays from 2EZ.
2EZ playing great. There's no other way to say it. No need to mince words. 2EZ is playing absolutely great on his Roadhog. It's everything. He's hitting hooks. He's hitting the long distance right clicks that I feel are so pivotal to making Roadhog a complete and rounded character. He's not feeding ults, and his Whole Hogs have just been on point every single time. He's getting kills with it. He's getting positioning advantage. He seems to have really found a new home on Roadhog, and it's worked out really well for them. Shadowburn, not necessarily the giant influence that he is on Genji, but the fact that he got so many dragons up really changed the scope of that fight. And Hanzo on last on this map, both offense and defense, is really good, because it's really just one long hallway that really favors any sort of geometry.
I think one of the issues for Kingdom, sorry,
go ahead.
Going forward is that they don't really have a top tier Genji, so they can't really counter Shadowburn when he's on Hanzo, where on other teams, you know, he's had to worry about that much more.
What are we waiting for?
One thing I'll say about Hanzo, Hanzo too is that you just have the entire thing where we are in a meta where the best way of killing people when there is such strong healing is with your burst damage. How do you get burst damage in this game? You get it from ultimates, and you get it from a handful of characters, and one of those characters is Hanzo, where it doesn't matter if you have all this healing support in the world if you get bopped by one arrow to the dome. So keeping that in mind, Hanzo has some degree of unique power. A power that McCree has with 2 quick headshots, a power that Widow has with 1 headshot. And these heroes can break things wide open from time to time. Hanzo definitely being the most in vogue between him and Widow right now.
Well, unique is not a word I would use to describe these compositions, as both teams decide that they're going to go as standard can be, and we've got a complete mirror match on our hands.
Jesus right now going to take a dirt nap early on in this fight. We'll get healed up, though, behind the Reinhardt shield. So not going to turn the pick that Raucus might have been looking for.
That's a slow going here. It's going to really depend on when they feel like engaging. The defense, the onus is on them, as the offense knows that they will just take as much free push as they can get and rotate around. So defense going to have to jump off this roof at some point.
They'll have to jump out at some point. A lot of times I feel like the onus is more the offense to try and clear things out. If you give the defense a perfect engage, it's not always great. But the defensive engage here, not as smooth as it could be. Factor Fiction will pay the price. Shadowburn, though, does get into the back line. Has 2, has 3. No one really caring about Shadowburn here. And he is punishing Kingdom for it greatly.
Shadowburn continues his reign of terror on his Reaper. His Reaper has been very good. We talk a lot about his Genji, but he's no slouch on Reaper for sure. They are going to have mostly a giant ult advantage because they won that fight so decisively. Raucus and Shadowburn would be the next combo you want to keep out for. Grego will only use that stun barrier if his team is in mortal danger, and he's hit them to perfection all throughout this tournament.
Shadowburn right now just creeping here on top of the gas station. There we go, Mana Boost is out, Shadowburn is in, spins right to the back line, grabs 2. It's not entirely decisive though, because Jesus doing much of the same in the back line, takes down 2, but Shadowburn perhaps has done too much. Jesus with a Death Blossom, Nano Boost of his own, but that was forced. The fight was... It's a case where maybe they can bring it back, but this is a rough go. It might have been better just to save it. Tale of Two Reapers, though, is Jesus making miracles happen right now in the back. Has already taken down 2, looking for more. Ends up being the Earth Shatter, though. And Factor Fiction being the rock for FaZe once more, but suddenly, a wild juvenile appears. First it was the Reaper show, now it's the Reinhardt show.
Comes that clutch sound barrier from Grego as he re-enters the fight, but it is not enough to save Factor Fiction, and Too Easy's going to get hooked in there, but second hook always wins that fight. Grego does get the finishing blow onto them, and it does look like FaZe will be able to stabilize on defense as the trickling in is coming way too late. Jesus is going to try to reform out. I imagine they go punish him. Nope, they're just going to let him live, not worried about it.
Alrighty, so that's going to work out to be... Gonna work out to being a full hold here for FaZe, and I still think, even though they made it into more of a fight than you would expect, I don't necessarily think it was a great idea to go for the Nano Death Blossom that late into the fight. I think it would be better served just holding off, going in again. FaZe had already used a lot of their ultimates, and now they commit to a bad place, and here comes Shadowbird. Moving up Death Blossom once more, gets absolutely nothing done, and gets slept towards the end, and hooked! All sorts of CC and Shadowburn, but while that's going on, it buys room for Too Easy, the follow-up on the Graviton. Whole hogs in, it gets the double kill. And showing just how consistent Too Easy has been here tonight.
Shows you how difficult it is to disengage when a team decides they really want to fight you, because they had a really nice disengage off of the, the game-winning ultimate of Shadowburn and being boosted. They disengaged from that beautifully, but you're not going anywhere when there's a black hole opening up. They use all the ultimates though, so now they do know they have the ultimate advantage, and good thing, because this is going to be their last solid push on this point.
Too Easy right now just sitting on the top, ready for another hook. Do have the Nano Boost coming in here once more. But look at this, Too Easy from flanks to the back, gets on the other Roadhog. It's a nice approach. He's just gonna get whole hog back. Connor having absolutely none of it. It's 4 kills here for Kingdom, and despite the nice approach from defense, I think they were just a little bit out-ulted in the end. And Connor gonna be showing us more of his Roadhog chops as Kingdom will be staying alive here, at least for now. Grego still buying some extra time, but don't think it's gonna be enough.
Perseverance is the key.
Now they will get to the point, buy themselves another 90 seconds as both Reapers go down for each side. So this next fight gonna be right now. Factor Fiction holding very far forward, needs to get out of there. They do end up charging the Zarya shield. Forsaken Does get that charge too easy. It's another hope, but that Earth Shatter cleans up all
Juvenile knocking down 3, rolling right in. I said, it's been a good game here for tank play. Juvenile and Connor on the side of Kingdom. Too easy and Factor Fiction for the side of FaZe. Really just a lot of parts all working together right now, but for now, it is Kingdom with the momentum, but they're gonna have to keep the momentum up. Less than a minute remaining. Every fight must be a win right now, and Hex, that is a tall order. Look at the ult bank that has been built up here for FaZe. This is a fight they can win. It's a fight they should win. But now it's a question, will they
grab
win?
And left click here. That's why you have Mana Snow hiding around this corner. He's gonna try to run through this shield and grab.
Unless they get an early pickoff, though, this is going to be really rough. The defense has so many more tools. Here comes Jesus. Nano Boost is up. Already took out Grego. Grego does not get the sound barrier down. Shadowburn, though, still got that backline. Took out 2. It's still an advantage of FaZe. Jesus, lucky to be alive. Has to heal up at 25 HP. His team is dying all around him. And he has a Death Blossom up, Hex, but with no team support, this is going to be pretty rough.
They kind of gave up on their plan. They wanted to get the Graviton and the Reaper in up there. They got very impatient about it. They tried to go in early and got absolutely nothing out of it because I think FaZe sniffed out the plan and just decided not to group up and go in.
That is going to be a full team wipe for FaZe in a fight where, again, they had a big advantage going in. They made the most of it. And as a result, they are going to win Route 66 and go up 1-0 here in the series.
Yeah, I think you're right, Hex. They were just waiting for Graviton. I think FaZe realized that and made sure they didn't all go together to get flanked on that left side. I don't dislike that Jesus went in to kill Grego first to nullify the sound barrier, but when you do that, you need to get more than just one kill because that's, you know, Grego's able to come back into the fight so quickly with speed boost and then sound barrier after. There's no way that they can win that, you know, the following fight. So decent plays here. And you saw Jesus playing on defense, but as you saw in the Cloud9 game, just not enough to take Route 66.
All right, so that was map number 1 in the can. It is going to be FaZe up 1-0 here, and FaZe making their case for getting that matchup against Cloud9 in the grand finals. But Kingdom, again, they still looked good throughout this. They definitely have the ability to pull this back, I feel like.
I will also say that it helps when Forsaken hits more than one person in Graviton. Usually, you get to win the maps much easier when that happens.
That is a good thing. I mean, hitting more than one person in Graviton, as Slasher astutely points out, can help.
Next level strategy, though. It's, you know.
So we'll see what map is coming in next here. Of course, this was a little bit of a strange map pull coming in, but Kingdom decides they want to keep it more standard as King's Row is where we're going to be heading off to. And surprisingly, we haven't seen that much of King's Row recently. It's still in and about, but it's nowhere near the always play map that it used to be.
Well, King's Row has been one of the auto bans that FaZe has had every single map draft through the entirety of this tournament. So even though this isn't going to the King of the Hill or the 2CP where you would think Kingdom would want to go, I think this is a pretty good choice for them, considering that FaZe really didn't want to play that for most of this time.
All right, so King's Row is where we're going to be going to. Will be FaZe on the attack first. FaZe, of course, up 1-0 here in the series. And again, going in here, it's pretty rare to see a reverse sweep happen in Overwatch. It's happened maybe 2 or 3 times at this point. So Kingdom really going to have to make the most of their map pick here. Reverse a little bit of momentum and go from there, because even though this is a best of 5, definitely don't want to open things up down 2 maps.
Is this the first time we've seen Kings tonight? I think it is.
Might be.
Yeah.
Saw a little bit yesterday, but yeah.
We did see it yesterday. That's what I was like. We definitely saw it yesterday, but tonight, this is our first trip to bright and sunny King's Row, if there were anything but.
Yeah, bright and sunny, not usually the words you use to describe London.
Strangely enough, when I was out there for Face It doing the Overwatch Open stuff, it was super nice in London. Every time I got into an Uber, they were just like, yeah, it's not normally like this. I don't know what's going on.
Was the food also really good? Were you in Bizarro London?
You know. I did have fish and chips, which is okay. I will say the one thing about London food that is great is that the curry houses that are out there are phenomenal. They have some of the best Indian food I have ever had in my life.
Fish and chips, it must have made like Midwestern boy at home, right? Do you have fish fries up in Minnesota? Wisconsin has fish fries all day.
Is there anything in Minnesota?
Wow! Look, we have wildlife, we have a gigantic mall, which people come to out of state to save on taxes as they buy clothing. Like, look,
Sure.
we have our things. We used to have a pro wrestler as a governor.
And if you get into trouble, I'll bail
Yeah.
you out.
That's true. We also, like we talked
Take
about
that.
last night, we also have the water. So when you know, when your
Yeah,
side of
yeah,
civilization gets...
For sure.
Yeah, the water wars are coming, and Minnesota will be king.
Let's not waste time. I have tickets to a show tonight.
All right, let's get back to Overwatch here. Defensively, it does not look like they're taking any chances. Nothing really outside of the box. It's exactly what they ran last time. Triple tank, double support, and throwing in that one DPS. It's going to be Jesus on the Reaper. Offensively, though, ZP, it does look like Shadowburn's had a good time on Hanzo, and this is a map that we've seen Hanzo on first offense a lot of times.
And part of the reason for that is that the run back for the defense is incredibly long. So if Hanzo does get that one good arrow, it's very hard for the defending team to really deal with it. And Shadowburn opening up with a headshot. Lucky for Kingdom, it was on the Zarya, not anything squishy here. But Connor J moving in. Again, this is the aggressiveness from Kingdom. They're not afraid to go very deep in. They take down Factor Fiction early. She lucky on the Grego, and just like that, they're going to buy themselves some time as the offensive phase has to reset.
It does
of course,
work.
here's the thing about this. The offense has a really quick reset time here.
It does worry me a little bit, though, because when we saw Kingdom struggles because they refused to run a Mei in situations where she's great. King's Row first is a situation where Mei is great. To supplement that, they're fighting much farther forward. Oddly enough, FaZe is having a hard time with their entry here, and you'd think without a Mei they'd have a better time. Shadowburn's sneaking around the side. He wants to get a little bit more aggressive on his Hanzo. They finally do take the entry through the hotel. Here comes a dragon.
Dragon is on the way. Jesus, though, going past the Dragon, takes down Raucus, and now is looking for more. Too easy, though, putting an end to that. The hook comes in, and he's not going to be back for a while. And here's the thing. Trading out super good for the offense here. They're going to be able to reinforce quicker. And Too Easy, now in a low-number situation, can really stretch his wings here as Roadhog. Look for the extra pickoffs, but going to get hooked in turn by Connor. Tale of two Roadhogs, both Roadhogs falling in turn, but it is going to be FaZe with a little bit more pressure.
They're going to take some pressure on the point, but here comes the sound barrier in desperation. The Graviton grabs 3 for them, but they on-point sound barrier from Grego yet again, negating a lot of this damage. Death Blossom comes in, gets absolutely nothing from Jesus.
Mana Snow coming in. The defense, despite the momentum being against them, they're holding on rather strong here. Too easy, though. Holog pins Zarya against the wall, makes all sorts of space, pushes Jesus back, but take a look at the defense. They have reestablished here at a situation where FaZe was honestly at a big moment of advantage. So going in, though, what do they have? They will have Graviton and Dragon Strike. They probably would have preferred to have used it on second, which is where you usually see it, but they might just be content to go with them first here. So we're going to see if that is the next play coming out here. Forsaken goes in. Graviton is out. Shadowburn. Here comes the Dragon. How sated will this Dragon be? Only eats the Reinhardt again with the aid of Grego, so...
How did Connor live through that?
I have no idea. Just Reinhardt voodoo magic. And look at this Reinhardt nano boost. Not getting at all what they want. Factor Fiction, though, gets the Earth Shadow down right before dying. Don't know if there's a follow-up, though, as Mana Snow gets the fall through once more, and what has been a bloody fight, but one still being won by Kingdom.
Well, Forsaken got hooked in there through the hotel and had the Desperation Graviton, and that's what ended up causing the Dragon Strike to come out. They only got the giant tanks in there. Connor took a breather all the way through that Dragon. They didn't get any kills out of it, so as Slasher has been so kind to point out, Forsaken does continue to struggle. A last Dragon came out somewhere, but that's because Shadowburn wants to switch.
Well, with under a minute left here, we're not seeing Shadowburn go to the Genji, we're seeing him go to the Reaper. A little bit more muscle for breaking this point, but they're up against Graviton, Death Blossom, and now it's Kingdom with a real chance of having this first point hold. Mana Snow, Lockhead depend here on his self-control. Where does he put this? Jesus was looking for the spin back, holds off for now. Sound barrier in, though, from the defense, and they're not pushing this down super aggro here. Bit of a mistake coming up from Kingdom with their ult advantage, and they lose Jesus early on here, so 5v5, they're not going to have the Death Blossom. They still hold on to the Graviton.
Well, the Soundbearer comes out to give everyone a little bit more health in this fight, and they're going to need it. Too Easy does take on Sherlocky early. Juvenile still looking for kills, but he gets taken out as well. A Desperation Graviton's a little late. 4v6 right now for the defense. That is FaZe's best look so far. Connor's going to try to hero it, but he is just one man with a hook. It is not enough. He gets cleaned up, and at the last second, it looks like they're going to be able to take this. A beautiful hook! Jesus! Off the top rope. Does not even hit the ground before he's hooked.
That was such a good hook from Too Easy, but it never should have come to that. There was such a huge advantage for Kingdom there. They had a big ult advantage going in. All they needed was a good Graviton and Death Blossom, but Jesus got picked off, and then they just sort of got discombobulated. They didn't get a good Graviton. Nothing went well for them, and as a result, FaZe lives to fight another day. They're going to get here on the second, and we'll see just how far they push this. And look at this, creeping up by the pub. Shadowbird's got to the back, Nano Boost out. Death and devastation. A 4K from Shadowbird really led to the death of the entirety of Kingdom there. And just like that, momentum is shifting.
Picture perfect.
Might have been a
Got
5K
himself,
out, right?
Yeah, set up in a great position. A nice ultimate from Raucus hits him at the perfect time. They had no idea he was there, and now they're in a really rough spot. This is a point where they're going to try to run back in. You never want to give up this point for free. One of the most pivotal points in all of Overwatch, second on Kings. But here comes a Graviton to keep them off. He got more than one Slasher.
He did get... Wait, what? Slasher is here, but in any case, Factor Fiction does take down Man of Snow. The Maywall did a good job of defending that, but the offense still with a whole lot of momentum to their name. They get through streets super quickly, and what was looking like a first point hold for Kingdom, it is turning out badly. They're just struggling to reestablish here, and C9 has the tools they need to keep this momentum going forward.
Just wanted to point out Forsaken's finally got a good Graviton, and Slasher's been a little bit on him for it. And he's not wrong, but that Graviton did keep them off the point. They're able to get that second, and now momentum firmly in their favor after a really brutal first offense for them.
Well, more ultimates are coming on here for the defense. Jesus will be able to call in a storm. Blizzard is out, and that's going to zone everyone off the point here, at least for a time. That said, FaZe with the Sound Bear, they're able to avoid the Blizzard. Shadowburn gets the backline. Death Blossom once more, picks up 3 total, and and what we're seeing right now from FaZe, they are keeping the momentum going forward. I think there was one time this cast where I might have called FaZe C9, and that is just honestly because of Grego. Like, it's
it's tough stuff.
Either way, Grego taking out Jesus towards the end, and just like that, it is FaZe staying alive. And getting with a big amount of time left too, a minute 30. That's a respectable King's Row time, so Kingdom with an epic collapse towards the end.
I want to give some big props to Raucus, actually, for hitting a crucial sleep dart onto Jesus during that last minute on first point that made sure that Factor Fiction was able to charge him, kill Jesus, even though Raucus traded out with Juvenile. Being able to stop him made sure that they got rid of most of the meat from Kingdom's defense to allow them to get that first point. If Jesus does not die there, there's a very good chance that FaZe gets full health on first point. Instead, they complete the map with 1:30 to go. What a huge turnaround.
First point definitely gave them a lot of problems. It seemed like they didn't necessarily have a plan to even execute. They were just going in looking for kills, and the Hanzo got very little value out of it. Once Shadowburn switched to the Reaper, it seemed like they understood how to execute second and last much better, because they got the positioning of the Reaper is really what can win you King's Row maps, especially in offense. Up over the top onto second and streets, up over the top towards the end, even without a Death Blossom, got into the back line, avoided the Blizzard, got enough kills to get a Death Blossom, then solo blossom 2 people, had his friend Forsaken there with him to give him the bubble, keep him alive. And yeah,
I guess so. We do have a pause here. Grego has left for the FaZe squad, and I gotta say, so it's one of those things was like we were getting towards the end. I was like, I'm pretty sure I said C9, and that's not right. But when you see Grego on that team for so long, it's just like it embeds itself so deep in your head. At least I called myself out before chat called myself out. At least, you know, we have our own delay, but you count for the delay. I caught it myself.
Happens, man. We're on hour, what, 5 of this cast?
It's also been a long day. That is the other thing, too.
Happens. Well, we did have a disconnect, so we're just going to wait for a reconnect here. Slasher, you seem to know, like, they always ban out this map. Is it because they just don't like first? First point of King's Row on offense has been notoriously difficult for a lot of teams throughout the history of Overwatch. And what is it particular about this map that they don't like?
Well, they don't really like the whole meta right now. I mean, Too Easy has been openly very much not a fan of the Ana meta, and because of that, they can't exactly run their standard dive comp, which they became so good at, which is with Genji and Zen and Winston, etc., especially when you're going up against Roadhog and Reaper and all that. And because this is kind of one of those maps that they're really, proficient at doing so, they just don't feel so confident at playing Kings Row. Kings Row used to be one of the maps that when I was playing with these guys that we always wanted to go to because it was always one of the stronger maps. But especially with this meta and the current roster that they have, it's just they're not feeling it. Like it turned to Gibraltar used to be the auto ban that they always used to have every single time. And now that's turned into one of their home maps. So they've taken maps that used to be auto bans and made them their home maps, and taken maps that used to be their home maps and turned them into their auto bans. So I think it makes sense from that perspective. As well, Kings Row is a map that I always compare it to Dust 2 in Counter-Strike, where every single team is actually pretty good at Kings Row because every single team has played Kings Row probably more than any other map in competitive Overwatch because it was one of the first maps that might be like the most played standard map.
It's almost certainly the most played standard map.
Because
like,
everyone's
I can't
good at it, it makes it harder
close
to play against teams.
So right now, just as an update to people wondering what is going on here, Grego did DC. Luckily, we don't have to remake the game or anything crazy like that. We can just sit here on the pause screen, but we talk analysis, talk about what we've seen and all the rest. And I gotta say, just from what happened to Kingdom there in general, where they had the almost legendary first hold and it all fell apart, I almost feel like that's just a mark of inexperience there, where you give Kingdom enough time to catch up experience-wise. Some of the other teams have played it a million times, as we were just talking about. I think they probably have a better response there where, okay, it didn't work out for them, but that's something you can polish and work on. That's not a end-of-the-world situation. That's, okay, when we get into a situation like that where we fail a first hold, let's look at how we can restabilize and not just throw it all away.
I would tend to agree with you. I think a lot of the teams that are around the mid-level or that have some inexperience, you see where they can hold for maybe 3.5 minutes on first point, but then they end up losing the point. And then the offensive team takes the entire second point all the way with momentum, where the stronger, more experienced teams can regroup, reset themselves, make sure that they don't bleed in terms of spawns, make sure that they don't use ultimates when they shouldn't, and be able to make a strong hold on that second point where, because you really shouldn't be letting teams go the entire way without fighting at least 2 times. And that didn't happen for Kingdom. I think that's one of those things that, you're probably right. It is some of that inexperience.
That said, I mean, you look at Kingdom and the results they're already putting up right now, being a newer team with newer players, it has to be a little bit scary that some of the other NA teams thinking about the potential of this team. Or on the other hand, if you want to talk about teams where they're always opportunistic, teams do always look at the idea of, well, who's really good in this team that we can poach and upgrade our team with? That's always the danger when you're an up-and-coming team, by the way, is that the reason why you don't see teams usually come out of nowhere and challenge the bigger teams are out there is that bigger teams have an advantage on player economy, where if they think that you have a few pieces that are really leading you to victory, they'll just take your pieces with a bigger name and reputation. So it's a little bit difficult, but Kingdom is rising so quickly, so solidly here that they might avoid that fate.
Well, FaZe, got a lot better when they got a couple of the Ono players on their team. It would be a great example of that. Factor Fiction and Raucus cannot be overstated how much they've improved this entire FaZe roster. So yeah, it is a danger, and you don't even have to be like an up and coming team. I mean, where's Method's support? He's playing for Cloud9, and that's a very newly established Cloud9 roster, kind of rebuilding itself from the ground up. And I thought he was on loan for a moment, but since Method played in this tournament, he still chose to play with Cloud9. So it is a dangerous thing when you've got a couple good players in your team that it's really hard to keep a mid-tier team together.
To be fair, this time next year, I expect the entirety of the NA OWCS, or whatever they name the Overwatch Professional Championship Series or whatever it is, to be half Korean, half European, and like 2 American players. So
You just
I
have no
I'm
faith in
going to-
anyone wearing the U.S. laundry slide. Like,
I-
it's almost a self-hating meme at this point where it's just like, nothing ever good will come from America. We're terrible at everything. Like, I think you're a little doom and gloom on that. That's all I'm saying. I have more faith in the good old US of A. I think that as time goes on, as esports gets more established, you will see far more competitors coming out from America, regardless of the game genre. But either way, the question here with Grego is, where is Grego? Is he coming back? And do we have to hail the return of IDDQD now playing Lucio to somehow deal with this for FaZe? Because I'm sure FaZe doesn't want to forfeit, and they do have the right for a sub. IDDQD never officially played in a sub, I should note, so they could get a different sub than IDDQD.
Well,
but
technically, I was supposed to play with FaZe in this tournament, but I just happened to not be anywhere near as good as Grego. Like, remotely close. So.
I mean, it would be unconventional, but that would be allowed if Slasher, you ended up because Slasher has played a lot of scripts for FaZe. Slasher would end up.
Did you know?
Oh my goodness. Is that actually where this is going? If Grego is gone, are you the sub for FaZe?
Possibly.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe. Yo, we'll win. No problem. I got this shit on lock, ZP. See,
Well, that is a surreal experience for the chat, because I hope you know the chat is going to be ready to put you on blast for any mistakes you might make, as Grego was a fan favorite. Chat, I mean, they've had to listen to you this entire time. I don't know if chat's going to be quite as generous to you, Rod.
One, I don't think chat has been generous to me at all while I've talked. I've been put on blast to say a lot of dumb things consistently, which is totally okay, because chat, I understand you. I get you.
All right, so
you've beaten Tailspin on LAN. So you understand how it is.
Oh, here we go.
Unlike maybe some other Overwatch casters out there who have no idea how it is to play Overwatch at a high level.
Grego cannot return quick enough. Is what I will say to that.
This conversation is going to some dark places right now, man. As we wait for Greg, this is what happens. It's you know that picture where the guy comes in with the pizzas and everything's on fire. That's gonna be Grego if his router isn't fixed in like 3 minutes.
Hey, well, you know what, ZP? Since we have some downtime, as a segue, let's talk about the Overwatch World Cup groups. Oh, and by the way, also congratulations on casting BlizzCon this year, as that was announced yesterday.
That came out, and that, honestly, that's a thing where it was definitely a goal, and I'm just super excited for the experience. But getting onto the groups, it is interesting. I do feel like there's just this collective sigh of relief from all the teams where when they realized they weren't in Sweden's group, where it's just like, oh, okay, Group A Sweden, not me, not me, not me. Team Canada. Yeah, gonna be rough there between Canada and Spain. I will say that. That's definitely going to be the matchup to watch in that group.
When you have Huck and Logan DeBest on your team, yeah, it's going to be pretty rough for Canada.
Wow.
I mean, for real though, like I expect Spain and Sweden to pretty much go away, go through with that group.
We might actually be ringing Slasher. I mean, so Sweden was...
They're saying Slasher might be leaving the cast.
Sweden is definitely heavy.
All right, so I think the way you can get into the Slasher is you have to leave the game and then join the lobby, in which case presumably Slasher is going to be off the cast as well.
I don't know. I don't know if that works, honestly.
I think it can work. Okay, Slasher tried. If you actually are ringing for them, I mean, let's get the show on the road.
All right. I think this is actually happening.
All right.
Okay, no, he's back. He's back. What the hell?
Oh, Greg goes back in. All right, so Slasher is not getting tagged in.
Putting me on the spot. All right.
So yeah, you're clearly a fan of Team Sweden, as noticed by your tag going anti-America as usual, even in your BattleNet Overwatch tag. So the Swedish flag, and Sweden does have the absolutely loaded and stacked roster. I do want to watch Finland versus South Korea, though, because I think that could be a really interesting match. I have Sweden and Finland being the clear favorites for the Overwatch World Cup because they actually have professional teams. Their entire teams are made up of pros, whereas some of the other teams have personalities, I guess would be what you would call them, and they have about 3 pro players. So. But the South Korean team could be really good. But I would be stunned if at the end of the World Cup it's not Finland or Sweden holding it. Probably Sweden.
I expect Sweden-Finland to be the finals,
Yeah.
depending on the bracket, because somehow France should even be at the finals, and they got the easiest group again. How much France are you paying off Blizzard to get these groups? Because I want some of that money.
I think the case there is France is just incredibly lucky. It does happen where you do get good groups on the rest. And I mean, the French team, I think, people rag on them getting a good group luck and all the rest, but I do think they played above where people expected to begin with. They still had to play decently well to get to where they are. So people might be a little bit too rough on France, I feel like.
Okay, we're going to go into this, guys. I'm going to do it StarCraft style.
He's on the loading screen. We're opening it up. Hex giving the countdown before the countdown. The madness has finally ended.
I forgot
the game is beginning.
I forgot it did its own countdown. My bad.
Well, it's too late now, Hex. We had to endure 2 countdowns. Thank you.
Well, you know, I just want to make sure the countdown to the countdown. If we had a break, we'd have a countdown screen to the countdown to the countdown. So that, and now we're still in a countdown as teams are preparing for attack.
The countdown to the countdown to the countdown.
Countdown new meta
is actually what we're dealing with right now.
All right, to reestablish where we are at, FaZe did win the first map on Route 66. This was definitely Kingdom's map choice. And this is about where it's at here. FaZe did complete the map, so that is what Kingdom is going to have to do to match their King's Row and not go down 0-2 in the set. Nothing out of the ordinary from either side, pretty standard compositions.
Connor was looking to be on Hanzo in the beginning, didn't really like what he saw, or was just scouting out the competition. Either way, he's on the Roadhog, and why not? He's had good Roadhog play throughout the day, but Too Easy has been more than a match for him in the Hog versus Hog matchup.
Interesting rotation here as they use Ajax and Jesus over the top to get Jesus in a really nice position. Shadowburn is coming in to try to deal with him, but he dodges a hook, so Jesus versus Shadowburn about to happen here.
Connor going to land that hook on the Too Easy, throws him all sorts out of position, but he's able to get out. Meanwhile, Jesus in the back, you were talking about Hex, he's still going in, takes down Shadowburn, and nothing really attacking him here, so Jesus with the reign of the high ground right now ends up falling towards the back. And should be a pretty quick first cap here for Kingdom, the way things are going.
Kingdom is doing so many new and cool things. Like, it's something that other teams don't do. Juvenile ends it up with a 3K, but what they did there, they rotate through Hotel. They get Jesus and Ajax down to the backside on that high ground. They use a speed boost so that Jesus can make that jump to the second ledge. They rotate him all the way up into the high ground, and he was able to 1v1 Shadowburn, even though Shadowburn was getting some attention from his Zarya, and then he held the high ground. And again, a McCree alone on the high ground, not exactly what he wanted to do. Jesus is gonna just take a brief sit in the streets. That's how happy he is.
I mean, that's confidence where you know you have enough room that you can get off a full sit emote before having to stand up again. That, you know, it's good prioritization coming out here. What can I say? But the defense is coming back out here once more. Still relatively alt-light, but Soundbear does come in for defense. But Juvenile takes down Factor Fiction early on. A little bit uncharacteristic for Factor Fiction. As a result, it's going to be Kingdom with the 6v5 advantage, pushing back FaZe once more. Raucous getting reeled right in. 2 extra kills moving in, and right now, Kingdom is moving at a lightning fast pace.
No breaks on this Kingdom train. Shadowburn got himself caught out of position and cleaned up, and they had a couple more kills on the chase down. They're not even gonna be able to contest this second point. They are flying right now. Jesus picks off Too Easy with the help of a hook. Factor Fiction out in no man's land. He's gonna get segmented down, segmented off, and eliminated too. They are just unstoppable at the moment.
Maybe I should have subbed in.
I love how normally just, yeah, it's normally 2-person cast and Slasher just comes in the middle, it's like, I should have subbed it. The timing there, I entirely approve of the timing though. But take a look, the offensive momentum here from Kingdom, absolutely crazy. They have 4 ultimates in their ult bank.
Yeah.
Certainly, you take a look at FaZe, they have ult up as well. Shadowburn comes in, nano boost into Death Blossom.
Beautiful.
Not going to happen, gets immediately declined, and what a back off from Kingdom to do that. Well read, well played. Juvenile picks up the 3K, and Kingdom on a roll, potentially going to be setting a ridiculously fast time here on Kings.
That was what they needed to bring back into it, was Shadowburn off the top rope getting a couple kills, but they read it immediately. That is one of the best disengages I've seen in quite a while.
It was great, and you take a look here, Jesus in the back, holding on to Deadeye. You want to be longer range for Deadeye in a lot of the cases. Makes it a little bit safer. Happy Little Skulls popping right up, and not going to get it. Shadowburn well protected between Wraith Form and that. And by the way, we have a Bastion alert. Too easy, going for the crazy. Please stop pushing our card strategy. Not quite gonna work out. Gets one kill before falling, and Jesus still on a rampage.
Grego trying to bring it back because he's going to soundbury the remaining members on the point. This is something they could stall out theoretically. It is only Jesus they're trying to push it. He's going to get a flashbang onto 4, but he's the only one alive. Factor Fiction clutching it out, and it is not quite over yet. 2 meters can be an eternity, especially on Kings Row. They have to win the next fight extremely decisively. They're going to have to deal with a tank mode Bastion as well as Factor Fiction. So Shadowburn did also go on to his Genji too. It's no time to be messing around with Reapers when the Genji is your best hero.
And I got Admire Too Easy here, sticking with the Bastion, saying, you know what, they're not going to expect to be still beyond the Bastion. We'll have tank mode up. And for now, it is cutting through the Reinhardt shield and sort of keeping Kingdom on the back foot. So they threw a curveball at Kingdom, and Kingdom not necessarily responding the greatest to it here just yet.
No, not quite the answer so far. They do sleep the Bastion, but then he gets Earth Shattered and Awakened. They do boost the Bastion now, too. He's going to come out.
And what? Reinhardt's so strong, he can push a tank.
How did Juvenile stay up there?
How is he still alive?
He's off the ledge.
What in the world? Is he going to get healed? What? Really?
Defying gravity there, too. What was that?
I don't know anymore, but it is going to be Connor with the cleanup here on the point. Picked up 2 kills to start with, carried it forth the whole again. My mind is still a little bit blown by that Nano Reinhardt, Nano Bastion exchange. Just.
Is this where we talk about the inexperience of FaZe? I mean, this is like this is the reason they don't really like to play Kings Row. Kind of evident enough.
I just. What is going on in the series? Everything between the long break with Grego DCing, the weird segues the conversation went on, and then just a tank being thrown across the map by a charging Reinhardt.
Well, he charged
just Overwatch things.
Charged him across the map, was able to stay alive somehow, but then got knocked off the edge, and I guess his shield or his hammer caught on the lip, and he jumped back up somehow with a Zarya bubble. It was a weird-looking exchange, but Juvenile has been playing great for them. He was probably picking up 3K as one of the best parts of that offense overall. So apparently he is just blessed from above. His friend Jesus helping him out there, keeping him alive towards the end. That was wonky to say the least, but when it all comes down to it, it's 1 minute and 30 to 250 time banks for each of these teams, and if you're FaZe, you cannot feel great because your first point attack took definitely longer than 1.5 minutes the first time.
This is where Kingdom has a great chance of evening up the series 1-1, the way things are going right now. We'll see if it works out that way. And FaZe not going for anything crazy here. No Hanzo to begin with, just Shadowburn on the Reaper. They want to be as reliable as possible here. Increase the odds that Shadowburn does get a chance for the Death Blossom. We'll see if it works out. FaZe right now, they are able to get through pretty quickly, and a lot can depend here on Too Easy. Will Too Easy be able to land the hooks that he has been landing for a lot of series here? Does land it onto a sleeping Reinhardt, puts Juvenile in all sorts of bad position, an extra boop for good measure, and Juvenile still, is that Reinhardt or Houdini? Another escape act coming out here for Juvenile, able to stay alive with the aid of Sherlocky, and Jesus ends up on the flank, picks off Raucus, so not quite what FaZe was looking for.
Yeah, Jesus with a couple kills early. That offensive push is going to be all but stifled. Shadowburn tries to bring it back, gets one of his own, but they are still being very aggressive. Jesus takes a 3rd kill, takes down Factor Fiction. 45 seconds left for FaZe to take this first point.
Hello, hello.
This has been a great defense from Kingdom here, looking to get even better. Nano Boost is going to be on the way from Sherlocky. It's going to be running into a Sound Bearer, though, so it's not entirely a win-win situation here for the defense. Sherlocky holding on to that for right now. Curious to see what he throws it on here. Actually could throw it on Jesus for the Nano Deadeye if he wanted to. See if that's the case, but he's holding on to it right now. Still holding on to Nano Boost as the fight goes on. Graviton doesn't result in any deaths. Juvenile gets low, but it's not enough. But the Earth Shatter coming in from who else but Mr. Reliable himself, Factor Fiction, sets up his team for 3 kills, and that is what FaZe needed to stay alive and get this payload moving.
Yeah, Shadowbird pushing very far forward. Forsaken's going to try to hunt some people down. This is where Zarya is just free to reign. Forsaken extremely charged up, just going to try to rain in damage, charge up his ultimate for the next push as they're at an extreme ultimate disadvantage. Zarya can do whatever she wants out here, own allied shield, so they're going to try to just get some ult going. They cannot leave this cart, though. We are fully on in overtime.
And this is the part where FaZe really could be an X factor and make up for lost time. They have to deal with so many ults here, so it's going to be difficult. And oh my goodness, Mana Snow not wasting any time. Graviton Surge coming out as Jesus just crushes the 4-man Deadeye with Nano Boost off of that Graviton. And that payload went nowhere.
Well, it got out of the garage.
Oh, look. Got out of the garage. I don't even. Slasher, help.
I mean, they, as Hex mentioned earlier, that is the type of aggression that Kingdom likes to play with on defense, which we really haven't seen, I think, a whole lot, especially since Lucio's speed boost was nerfed. And at the same time, that's the type of play that FaZe like to do a whole lot. I don't think they're used to maybe being aggressed upon so much, especially with a Roadhog Reaper comp that they're playing against. So Kingdom now has put themselves in a very good position to win this match.
Look at this payload square. I don't think I've ever seen the payload square so close to the garage. That is actually crazy. Usually at least gets to the archway.
Yeah.
Most of the time people don't want any part of it until the archway, but this right here, this is basically a testament to how aggressive Kingdom likes to be.
Well, we've seen a lot of stuff we haven't seen in previous tournaments just because Kingdom plays so differently. I would not be surprised with pretty much anything they want to run out here. Jesus is going to switch off the Bastion, but what you do want to look for is if they rotate through Hotel again and just completely take the high ground away. Jesus and Ajax ran that combination up the stairs, across the balcony, into the Hotel, and they had no answer for it. Shadowburn tried to answer, it was not there. Shadowburn's going to be on his main now, and this main is going to be less effective because they don't generally go in through the front door. They're going to maybe rotate around again. Yeah, they're going Hotel again. Ajax and Jesus trying to get the same thing going.
Yep, they're just rotating around, and why not? It worked out effectively last time. Jesus going to make that jump, not falling to his death like a certain Bastion in a recent clip.
Yeah, Shadowburn's up there to try to deal with it again, but Ajax and Jesus have put them in an awkward position. He gets slept, does Ajax. Is there the follow-up for it? Not necessarily. They're still up there causing problems.
They're causing problems, and it's not the greatest fight for Shadowburn. Meanwhile, you take a look at the point. Too easy. Going the fall. Fanning in the Shadowburn. It's Jesus with the double kill. And just like that, Kingdom almost cracking this FaZe defense. And again, for FaZe, they're going to have to rush out and be hyper-aggressive themselves if they do lose this point here.
Yeah, Jesus with another kill. They just had no answer for him. Shadowburn came up to try to duel him, this time on a May instead of a Reaper, and he lost that duel as well. Jesus is 2-0 against Shadowburn when they have a 1v1, and they are in a really rough spot, is FaZe. You can't back up, you can't do anything, you got to bum rush to this point. Luckily, the garage opens extremely slowly, and here comes the cart, but yeah, this is rough.
They have to get on right now. They have no repair. They're not able to get on. And as a result, this series is going to be tied up 1-1. Kingdom with the comeback. In a sense. And they come back in the series. This map was completely dominant for Kingdom. Clarifications. It was a long and weird map just because of the long DC, but these things do happen.
So now for FaZe, if they want to win this series, they're going to have to win either a King of the Hill or on Hanamura. And we saw Kingdom play Hanamura really well against Immortals. I am sure we are going to Dorado as our next match. And now this puts the pressure right back on FaZe, because if FaZe wants to win this series, they cannot lose Dorado and then have to win both Ilios and Hanamura to take it. Not only will they be tilted from losing 2 maps in a row, both payload, one of them Dorado being one of their best maps that they should be winning, but at the same time having to win 2 maps that they probably didn't want to play to begin with, it's going to be really rough for them. Kingdom, I think, should be feeling pretty good right now about their chances.
All right, so FaZe getting to choose the next map. We'll see just where they want to bring it. Kingdom gets to choose side choice. If it's not a King of the Hill map, if it is a King of the Hill map, then it just does not matter.
What do you, especially you think it's Dorado or Ilios? It's not going to be Hanamura.
It's got to be Dorado.
I was almost going to preemptively set it to Dorado.
I mean,
but...
see, they might go to Ilios because even if they lose that map, they'll have a chance to go to Dorado anyway, and they want to like maybe gamble in terms of trying to play it early. But I would think if I was them in the situation I was playing right now, I'd be like, we're playing Dorado, so we can go up 2-1 and then feel a little bit more confident going into that next map. I wouldn't want to, as a team that I know can tilt very easily. And as they didn't play very well in Kings Row, I wouldn't want to risk it going to Ilios. And yeah, all right.
And it is, in fact, going to
no, they didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. So you're trying to be a mind reader here, Hex. Now I'm hoping they pick Hanamura just to spite you in the worst possible way. Where did King say that? It's like, Juvenile, you are on Kingdom. Oh my goodness. See, we cut some of the series to be shorter, so we didn't have too long of a night, and yet we might be heading for a long night in the end after all, which does mean more Overwatch, but it does mean a little bit more zaniness as people slowly lose their minds.
This is a long discussion in between period on choosing this next map.
Right.
Yeah.
And they say sex, so there must be a bit of disagreement within the FaZe roster now. Now, you know that they do have a history of tilting. Do you think they're a little bit on tilt, Slasher, after that last map?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that there's a reason they were banning it out anyway, and they weren't exactly expecting to play well, but they got steamrolled on offense twice. And, you know, after that, I'm sure there is some discussion about not only like how they want to proceed, but maybe they're like thinking a little bit about, you know, how they lost that so heavily.
The most interesting part to me was when they did rotate on the offense, and they did the same thing both times, Jesus and Ajax up over the top, and the fact that Shadowburn got simply out-dueled twice, and he had support from Zarya and had support from Ana, both times got out-dueled on Reaper versus the McCree, and then got out-dueled May versus McCree. Now, those aren't necessarily super favorable matchups, but that's got to be in his head. And conversely, the other side, Jesus has to feel pretty good. He's like, yeah, I just 1v1 Shadowburn a couple times to win both first points at Kings Row. No big deal. So just kind of the micro matchups in this have to be favoring Kingdom's confidence right now as well.
I mean, there's even a little bit worry if they go on Dorado. They barely got past the first point of Immortals. They had to rely on Immortals basically completely screwing up for them to be able to take that map in the first point and then go all the way to the end. So even if they go to a map where theoretically they should be decently favored on, Kingdom run a comp, which includes Roadhog on Connor, who's playing quite well today, and Jesus, who has done a whole lot of work on McCree that can shut down Shadowburn, and they are choosing to go to Ilios. So, you know, this is going to be very interesting for FaZe here. They haven't wanted to go to King of the Hill for a reason, because of the current meta and because of the high pings that both DPS players, 2easy and Shadowburn, are playing with. And we know how good Kingdom is on King of the Hill too. This could go 50-50
weird though, because
either way, honestly.
I do think it could go either way, because even though FaZe might have their apprehensions about playing on this, they're also historically been a really good control point map team. Not the least of which, of course, because of Shadowburn's crazy heroics, but just in general, 2easy has gone off quite a bit as well. So, I mean, they do have a very solid 1-2 DPS combo. They have one of the best supports in the game playing for them right now in Grego. They have Factor Fiction, who has been a rock all night long in tank play. And tank play is a big deal in King of the Hill, especially if you look at, say, for example, times where C9 was on top when they played those maps. You saw craziness coming out of Kai and all the rest. So I don't know. I think that FaZe doesn't really have a whole lot of reasons to fear this, but certainly you take a look at how Kingdom has played recently. They're not necessarily weak on this map type either, so we'll just have to see how it goes. I think 50-50, though, certainly a fair estimation of where the odds lie
FaZe
here.
open up to a good start because Kingdom is not electing to go McCree, so maybe this Fire Mercy can get them a good edge to start off.
Should be interesting as the combo does come out. It's one of the better King of the Hill maps, I think, for a Pharaoh Mercy. A lot of high ground defensive shields up there with this Lighthouse, too. So they're going to play pretty conservatively as they roll out with this combination. You have to imagine that if this goes poorly early on, that Jesus is going to be the first to switch.
But we have returned in, and first round was taken by FaZe, and apparently the finish was absolutely close, despite how things started. I am all sorts apologetic for us missing that finish, but we still have 2 more rounds to go here at a minimum for Ilios. So lots of good Overwatch still left, and lots is still left in the series to begin with, as it is a best out of 5.
Slasher had some interesting ideas about the composition that FaZe was running. You had some questions as to why they're not like running some DPS or running Ana with this triple tank. You want to elaborate a little on that?
Yeah, I mean, I understand they want to run Fire Mercy, but if they're going to be running triple tank, that is where Ana is so good that, you know, running Ana Mercy isn't great because you need Lucio on King of the Hill. So I can understand the problem here, but I might as well just put too easy on McCree or Tracer. But it worked out. It went first round.
Too easy. Can get first pick off here on the Jesus, but Mana Snow firing right back. Factor Fixes down. That rock for FaZe already out of the fight. 5v5, anyone can take this. But what a hook on Lucio. That is one way to stop him from riding a wall.
I was going to say it was interesting that Jesus had come out on the Tracer, knowing full well that they were running this combo last time. They didn't even necessarily switch into much ado with the combo, but now Jesus is going to be on the McCree to really try to put an end to Shadowburn in the sky right now. Very aggressive charging from Juvenile. Nothing new out of him as he's been doing that all night. Does take out his counterpart in Factor Fiction, but he will probably likely get cleaned up in the end. He does, but buys his team some space and time in the process.
The one thing about the setup here from Kingdom, I'd very much like if they ran a Zen with this as well, because this is going to be rough as Shadowbird takes out Ajax immediately. Jesus under assault, and without a pocket heal, it's going to be rough as Justice raining right on top. 3 kills here from FaZe, and FaZe going to retake control at this point.
Well, Ajax was up at the top of the pillars. If you're going to come into Farah's house, you got to expect to get shot at with rockets. He was at eye level with her. Flying too close to the sun was Ajax on his Lucio Icarus there. They ended up getting punished for it, and right now they flip it back around in pretty solid control here. They do need to give Jesus, at the very least, a little bit of help. Him and maybe Ana need to team up and keep him alive, and then also throw some more damage at Shadowbird. It's just not enough resources devoted to the 2-hero combo that they're running.
Well, full ult bank up here from FaZe, and what a Graviton by Forsaken. Pulls in 4 people, and that's going to be a 4K coming out here from FaZe. Kaikai's saying something about pausing. I don't even know, but that was going to be a full team wipe from FaZe, just taking out Kingdom there. Kingdom, I mean, they had decent ults on their side, but it was a full ult bank from FaZe, so you kind of had to expect that going in.
Oh, whatever's Kaikai saying, I'm sure it is at my expense, so I'm not going to look and hunt down that comment in the Discord wherever it is. Right now, it is 60% in favor of FaZe as they continue to pretty much run this combo unopposed. Jesus doing his best on it, but again, I do not know if you're really going to be able to consistently shut it down without devoting more resources to that particular purpose.
Well, for this particular fight, it works out. Jesus takes Shadowburn out of the air, but the res still coming up from Raucus. It's not over just yet, but right away, Jesus being relentless, going right back in onto Shadowburn. And for now, Kingdom definitely with the edge in this fight, res or no res. And I don't know if it's just me, but I do feel like people have gotten a lot better at dealing with Mercy res. It's not the guaranteed game changer that I feel like it was in the past. That was a good res coming out, and the people that got res just immediately went right back down.
It has been the trend in the last couple of days of when you do get res, you're likely just going to die immediately afterward anyway. So I think saving a res for bringing up like 3 or 4 people is usually the bad idea. You're going to see more tempo reses. Bringing up 3 and 4 means there's no one to really be in the fight while you're being resurrected to get that decent positioning. Bringing up 1 or 2 usually works out a little better.
All right, so Right now, you take a look at Kingdom, more than content to just hold back and make FaZe come to them. Graviton, though, going to be coming out here to start things out, and Shadowburn over the top with the barrage, takes down Jesus. Usually it goes the other way around, where the McCree takes out the barraging fair from long range, but not so much this time. 5v5 between both teams. Nanoboost, though, going to be coming out here, and Sherlock, of all people, to double kill. Juvenile rolling in off that Nanoboost. 3 kills here for the side of Kingdom, and for now, they will be holding on.
Well, nearly any kill that Juvenile gets, you can almost credit to Sherlocky as well, because he's been in his back pocket for the entirety of the tournament. Juvenile runs very deep. That ranged healing has kept him alive on much more than one occasion, and that's why they allow him to play like he does, but Sherlocky's always got his back.
And this is the mad dash right now for the offense. They have to get in. They have to keep this in overtime. Period. Full stop. Factor Fiction already gave his life up to put in overtime. Forsaken looking for anything on this Graviton. Does pull in 2. Will take out 2 in the end. Factor Fiction back in the fight after the res. And Shadowburn in over the top. Rocket after rocket takes out 2. Juvenile saying, I am so bad, as right now at 92%. FaZe in a great position now to take this map. Very unlikely that we're going to see Kingdom actually get back to the point in time, but Winston gonna try.
Not quite enough as Factor Fiction knocks him out of the sky. That is 2-0 for FaZe on Ilios.
I would say
obviously we do have different camera shots, but that was an epic shot of Winston just falling at the end. So close yet so far.
Kingdom should have been able to close that out, and especially with kind of Factor Fiction having a suicide at the end. Yeah, Rockus has res. I don't. Juvenile makes him misplays there, as he mentions in chat that this should be 1-1, and now, you know, FaZe putting themselves in a very good position to take this map and feel good about the rest of the series.
It seems like they are going to continue running this combination at the very least. Shadow and Ruckus have not switched off of it, and you know, at what point do we start questioning if Kingdom even has someone who can play Zen to help them out with this? Because they have not gone to it. Maybe they don't feel they need to, but Shadowburn has not really been pressured in the way that you want to pressure a fair out.
I don't think they realize the need is part of it. I honestly think that is where it's at the moment. Where here's the key is that you just even show Zen with your McCree, and Shadowburn's gonna get off the fair and probably not go back. It's a pretty strong deterrent once you get bopped just one time by that Discord or Peacemaker combo. And for now, Shadowburn gonna get free reign in the skies. We'll have a little bit of McCree pressure, but it's just not that scary when you have a Mercy pocketing you from behind.
Well, they do trade out kills onto the point. Jesus does come in and grabs a couple. Him and Connor do add up. Ajax, I think that must have been an environmental. Gets a double kill off of it. Forsaken and Grego, a nice boop there. So Ajax coming to life as they take first point.
It was the double boop coming in, and it's just interesting watching these fights between Shadowburn and Jesus right now, where Shadowburn does have a big advantage with the pocket healing, and yet Jesus still able to get kills on him depending on how he goes. So you have to be careful about how he approaches the fair. I still think compositionally it favors FaZe a little bit more, and Shadowburn will have the barrage to go in on this next fight, but I just feel like Kingdom is putting themselves in a rough situation for no reason. Here comes Shadowburn over the top. Barrage on the way. Jesus able to get away from it. Sound barrier protecting Kingdom from the worst of it. Nanoboost coming out lane to fight, and here comes Juvenile. Right now swings hammer again, picks up the double from that nano combination. Res from Rockets late in the fight, but an Earth Shatter gonna knock down 2 once more as Juvenile having a rampage here on the point.
Yeah, Shadowburn's still trying to get some stuff done. He's behind the point. Raucus does go down to Juvenile. Shadowburn does kind of clean it up as well. Gets 1 kill, but that is it. They might switch off on their own accord here. Shadowburn does have another barrage up, but right now they are ignoring it for the most part, which is a valid tactic against this combination. They were up top on the Lighthouse, and you know what? Kingdom didn't care. They said, that's fine. We're going to take our 6v4 fight on the ground then and completely ignore your combo. We'll come back to you when we're done cleaning up the 4. Valid tactics, exactly what they did, and able to win that fight because of it.
Well, big old advantage here, the FaZe. This should be a fight they take. Lucky Shadowburn did not get picked off really early on, but with Jesus down, the air will be clear, but Connor takes him out before he can take flight once more. Big plays coming out from the Roadhog, and now at 87%, FaZe is in real danger of losing this round. Not really able to get anything going.
Yep,
94%. I'm not even sure FaZe is going to be able to touch a point again. This is a bit of a disaster for them, especially with how many ults they had going into that fight.
So I will say that some of the issue that I see here, and even that I saw on Dorado, when FaZe was playing against Immortals. If Pharah Mercy doesn't get the kill, because you do so much damage with Pharah, the worst thing you could do right now in competitive Overwatch is almost kill people, because you pretty much give Ana ult immediately to the other team. So if Shadowburn is not able to get the pickoffs, you're going to give Sherlocky ult immediately. And then it's really difficult to combat that, especially if you don't have an Ana yourself.
Ah, Jesus, toying with us. For the moment, he was on Widowmaker, which I think would have been a great pick. This map in particular is good for Widow, some nice spots, and when you're having to deal with Shadowburn, who is on that Pharah, that would be a nice choice. But it does appear that FaZe is going back to, you know, a dive composition kind of lineup. Shadowburn too easy on the flankers and Genji and Tracer. They're going to run Factor Fiction on the Winston, and Forsaken's going to play a Zenyatta. So a really big switch up here from the roster.
Well, the reason why Forsaken on Zen, one of his comfort heroes to be sure, and we'll see how that works out moving in here, where Shadowburn, again, he's going to be diving in. He will be under pressure from Jesus, but the orb can really keep him alive in the situation, especially he doesn't have to worry about a counter Discord orb. Still, though, Jesus versus Shadowburn coming in the back, and Shadowburn gonna take it, has 2 kills, makes it 3, no Dragon Blade required for Shadowburn, and he just rolls in and picks up 4.
Why doesn't he just play Genji all the time? I know it's a broken record. I know it's not making a ton of sense. Is he just trying to practice Pharah so that one day when they need it, he can play it? Because that is insane. He just went in and got 4 kills by himself on Genji, all alone, no problems, no issue. I don't understand it. He has Dragon Blade ready.
This is the Shadowburn conundrum, right? It's kind of similar to what we see for C9, where you wonder, why is Surefour just not on McCree, especially on control points?
Yeah,
and
but the gulf between Shadowburn's Genji and his everything else does seem to be much larger than any other player's gulf.
It is, and here we go, Shadowburn coming in. Dragon Blade on the way once more. Not finding the best targets right, but has sniffed out the Ana, takes her down. Too easy, comes in from the flank while this is happening, picks up 2 of his own. And that is going to be a dominant fight coming out from FaZe.
I'm at a loss.
All right. We are here once more. Not sure who has left us this time, if anyone has.
This is a tactical pause. This is the what the fuck is going on, guys?
Whoa. Language.
Yes, even Greg was asking, like,
Well,
Okay.
they did just get
B could be I'm back or I'm bad. I'm not sure. It could be either in this case, I think.
All right. So, interesting commentary on the nature of this pause, but it looks like we are ready for the unpause. 5 seconds and we are good to go, but this has been pretty devastating coming out here from FaZe. By the way, Shadowburn can still play Genji.
My ultimate is ready.
So, offense resetting once more. They will have a nano boost into Earthshatter, but that's not necessarily great against the ult setup that's coming out here from FaZe. They're about to have Sound Barrier into Primal Rage, into Transcendence. Lots of stuff up here for FaZe. And they're going to open things up with the Graviton. Pulls in 3. Shadowburn diving right in, building all sorts of ult. The bang coming in from Too Easy. Part of why Ajax just went down. Sound Barrier in late in the fight. As a result, this is looking really good for FaZe as now. It's time to slice. It's time to dice. Shadowburn moving in, picks up 2, looking for the 3rd. And even though Kingdom was able to pick up a few kills here, it's not decisive, and they should get thrown off this point. What? So apparently, both Hex and Slasher have been DC'd from the internet, and DC'd from the cast, so I don't know what's going on right now. Hex is gonna have to recall here in the moment, but we do have both teams going in. The Graviton in from Shadowburn picks up yet another. FaZe looking dominant. They win this round, they win the map, and that is gonna be it. They will be taking Ilios as the internet burns all around me. So, Hex's internet booped. I don't know why Slasher got... Oh no, Slasher wasn't knocked out of the game. He was just... He was made into the owner of the game. Okay. I couldn't really look into it at the point. It was just Hex who ended up falling out. So we'll have him recall on Skype. We'll get both of Hex and Slasher back in just a moment. We're dazed, guys. We're dazed. Trying to get Hex to recall here. First my internet goes out, then Hex's internet goes out. Sombra, the Illuminati, you guys be the judge. Alrighty, so Hex has returned. Still waiting on Slasher.
Yeah, I think I saw Slasher.
Top tier internet, by the way. Not that I'm one to throw stones, since I was running the stream and my internet died, but...
Huh. Well, you know, the benefit is I'm no longer lobby leader. That's the plus side of that.
I guess we shouldn't be so surprised that as soon as Shadowburn goes Genji, he kills 3 people at the start of the round.
Well, there's also a reflected ultimate that I wasn't even able to call out because I was just reeling from the tech side of things, so it's one of those nights.
Can I get an invite? Or what happened with it?
Well, we're inviting you to lobby. It was
Cool.
FaZe's map. They're up 2-0 now.
Awesome.
So we're going to invite Hex back in here.
Well, FaZe won the map that they really needed to. And for sure, we're going to be going to Hanamura next because obviously that was where Kingdom would want to go. They beat Immortals at Hanamura earlier. They are electing to go to Hanamura. And now FaZe, the gamble worked out for them. Because they decided to go to Ilios to try to test the waters and win a map that Kingdom was probably feeling pretty confident on. Now, even if they lose Hanamura, they go to Dorado, a map where, you know, they are expected to win. So FaZe has an extra opportunity to close out the series 3-1 before going to a 5th map. Where if they went to Dorado and, you know, if they lose Dorado on the 3rd map and then they have to play Ilios and Hanamura, they're already going to be super tilted from losing getting obliterated on King's Row. The gamble works out for them, and they have a pretty good chance of now going to the finals for a rematch against Cloud9.
All right, so by the way, Slasher, you have lobby leader now, so you are going to have to take the reins here. We have to remake the lobby, which isn't good. So I know you're wanting the shirk responsibility, but the responsibility falls to you. You're the leader of the lobby.
Yeah, settings should be fine, though. You're just going to have to be in charge.
Yeah, all you have to do is turn the map to Hanamura, and we'll be good to go.
I got it. I'm a pro gamer.
Pro lobby leader shows us the beautiful scenery of Hanamura.
Yeah. You might have to switch teams on sides, too. But FaZe is choosing to defend, so you're all good,
We're good.
man. We can just hit start.
FaZe.
We are all solid, so they give a little bit of a reprieve here, the Slasher. They don't make him do any heavy lifting.
I'm the pause commander now.
A team swap button would be awesome now that we have team names and stuff, instead of having to individually swap players all around. Just a little flipperoo button would be great. It's pretty low on the list of priorities for Blizzard, I'm sure, to get my flipperoo button in there, but it would be nice.
The flipperoo button. Maybe it'll come after server selection and custom games or mods or a stat screen or in-game scores or any type of statistics. Literally anything. Anything would be just...
So we are waiting for both teams to ready up. Once they're ready, we will be going into Hanamura, and this is where FaZe, they have a chance to close this out and move on to the grand finals where they will be taking on Cloud9. But they have to prove it against Kingdom first, and Kingdom looked pretty darn strong on Hanamura earlier in the day, so we will just have to see.
Well, if they watched any of Hanamura, earlier, it's very clear that you have to take top right away from them. You can't simply ignore McCree up there the entire time. And that's, I mean, after the Pulse Bomb and Graviton that really stopped Immortals' first push, they simply never had a reasonable response to Jesus's McCree. They tried to get a couple hooks a couple times and just never able to deal with him. And McCree alone on high ground when no one's looking at him is a dangerous, dangerous man.
For me, I'm just hoping that one of the teams goes I'm not sure what the earlier game today was, either Luna Takai versus Envious or Rhinos versus Rogue, where they ice block with Mei over the left side, and then Bastion suicides by accident, and then the rest of the team suicides after because they have to reset.
I saw that.
Someone please do that in the West. That would make me just thrilled.
So, rating right now in FaZe of Kingdom, maybe there's a little bit of pre-match chat going, or they've forgotten to tell us that they're ready. One of the two. Usually teams are on top of it. When in doubt, though, blame Slasher. He does have
I think they're
lobby
discussing.
host.
I think this is both teams are figuring out what they want to do, but FaZe doesn't really play Hanamura. To be
Also,
completely
Hex,
honest.
Kingdoms.
do us a favor real quick and recall here because Slasher's camera has failed to restart. So, recall and hopefully, there it goes. Actually, I just want an excuse to get both of them off the call. The true metagame going down here. But should have them back here in a second while we wait quite a while. All right. We got
good?
Rod back. We got Hex back.
All right, we good.
We're back in there. So this is the lower bracket final for those who are tuning in. FaZe vs. Kingdom. Winner goes up against C9. So on and so forth. A few people are in the bathroom from the FaZe side. Likely the same from the Kingdom side. Everyone taking care of the essentials before getting into map number 4. As Jesus says in lobby chat, quote, I play in the bathroom. The more you know.
Ew.
It could be a very nice bathroom. I mean, bathrooms are of a varying quality. Like, there's a sliding scale where at the lowest side of it, you have porta potties, and then on the highest end, you have whatever the bathrooms you get in a high-end hotel. So, you never know. Maybe he's on the higher end of things. Probably not in a porta potty.
He does watch over all of us at all times,
It's true.
Oh my goodness.
including the bathroom.
Thanks for clarifying. I wasn't quite sure that's what you meant.
The deadpan delivery of that. Well, either way, FaZe is ready. They're saying to go. We're still waiting on Kingdom. We just started
Kingdom's
anyway,
ready.
so...
Ready.
Oh, King's ready. All right, so we're good to go. All right, so we're getting game. FaZe up 2-1 over Kingdom. Kingdom looking to make the resurgence here on Hanamura. We'll see if they are going to be successful.
Now, I like the comp that Kingdom was running earlier on this map. I definitely think a dive comp slash what is it called? Flanker comp is the way you play this map just because of how powerful Mei can be on first point. Now, let's see if Shadowburn actually decides to choose Mei on first point. I mean, they didn't really run Mei on Temple of Anubis, so if they're not running Mei on Temple of Anubis, maybe they don't do it here. It looks like Shadowburn will decide
still
to do
going
it.
for
I
it.
think you kind of have to, honestly.
Mei on first point here is just, it's so good. It makes the
is so
offense have to really think about how they go through it. It makes the initial archway that much harder to actually pierce through. And honestly, we've seen it cause offenses to go for double dive compositions, things that can bypass the archway just because it is such a pain when there's a man the other team. And let me tell you right now, when playing general pub comp Overwatch, there's almost always going to be in Mei in most games, especially if you're here on Hanamura.
Whenever I play pubs now on Hanamura, whenever people pick Ryan, I'm like, no, we're playing dive comp. I yell at my team, we're playing dive comp. We please play dive comp, because what ends up happening is we run into walls for 3 minutes and then no one goes, and then I gotta yell at my team more, and then I lose 50 rating, and then I'm angry for the next 3 games. Hanamura.
I mostly solo queue, and I always play Tracer here, just because we need someone in that's going to pull them off the front door, and yeah, Tracer's great. Anyway, enough of our pub adventures. They are just going to hold pretty much far forward on this wall here, waiting for them to come in. Shadowburn's going to try to get the wall in as they go. They are running a dive composition, though. This is what they did on the first part of Hanamura last time, so they're trying to bait out that wall, but no wall even comes up.
Yeah, Shadowburn, again, I don't know if he plays the whole time. I think it's one of those cases where it makes sense meta-wise. I'm not sure as Mei he's as comfortable on it as others, and as it's going on, it's going to be 3 kills here from Kingdom. They are able to get through. The wall not really doing too much. I mean, it comes in way too late. And not the best Mei performance coming out here, to say at least, is Connor just picking up kill after kill with this Genji.
The wall not doing too much is even a generous appraisal of what that wall actually did. Shadowburn's Mei is not his best hero by far. It's something that he feels forced on, I think, because of the meta and because of certain maps, but his Mei has been mediocre at best, and he's going to have Blizzard up for the next point, which is nice for last. It does cover the entirety of last point, but so far, Kingdom has a definitive strategy on this map that other teams simply do not have, and this dive comp has worked out really well for them. They're going to have some ults, but they're going to be pushing it all too. There's a wall. That's a nice wall.
It is a wall coming out from Shadowburn, and he's holding on to Blizzard for this point. Too easy with the hook, takes down Mana Snow, and just like that, 2, now 3 key members of Kingdom are gonna fall down, so Shadowburn, a little bit of redemption there at that wall, definitely set things off on the right track. As a result, FaZe will have a comfortable hold here, but Hex, they're gonna have to do this for 6.5 more minutes. Easier said than done.
Yeah, but it is possible because it is the last point of an assault map. These are designed to give the defenders an advantage, especially as far as respawn times go. What they really need is Mana Snow to get his Graviton up. We talked about it the first time we were on this map, that you need to get a lot of kills early and in quick fashion. And what better way than a Graviton into Pulse Bomb and then deny the respawns as they trickle out.
So everyone's still up right now for this Kingdom side. They do have Dragon Blade at the ready, Sound Barrier in. Gotta imagine we're gonna see the Dragon Blade just moment. They pick up the first 2 kills off the Sound Barrier, but oh my goodness, Genji lucky doesn't get, oh, Factor Fiction throwing him off the ledge with authority. His body at the very least, but Pulse Bomb in, gotta get negated by the Zarya shields, and FaZe, after a rough start, looking like they will solidify once more on this point. Remember, this is just like the end of Dorado, the other assault maps that you might see, where you really have to flawless victory this end point. If you don't, the respawns will come in and they will push you out, and that is exactly what is happening right now in the Kingdom.
Well, really well played by Forsaken there. If that Pulse Bomb goes on up on either of them, they might be in a little bit of trouble, but he saved 2 lives. He had his own shield up. He ally shielded the Reinhardt too, making sure that that Pulse Bomb Graviton did absolutely nothing. Negating 2 ults with just your basic abilities always feels pretty good, so they're still going to be running this composition on the way in. Actually, Sherlocky is going to be on the Ana now, so they are going to add that in. Man of Snow changes to a Winston, so some roster changes coming out here. No longer a Zarya into this mix. Jesus, dying for a long-range Icicle.
That is unfortunate for Tracer, just it does happen. Icicles can be Tracer's bane from time to time.
But she dies to anything.
Yeah, just, you know.
150 health is not a lot. Not a lot at all.
There's a lot of random stuff that can kill you straight to put it mildly. But take a look here at the offense here. They do have Dragon Blade, Pulse Bomb at the ready. Connor gonna be looking to go forward here. Not gonna get that much support from the rest of his team, so they're gonna do this to get away. But what a pickoff on the Raucous. Sheer beauty. And here comes Connor, Dragon Blade at the ready. Gonna get knocked right to the ground though by that Earth Shaft from Factor Fiction. Blizzard gonna give the support needed, and despite the early pickoff for Raucous, the rest of FaZe definitely had that on lockdown.
It's a perfect counter to a Dragon Blade, and you see teams try to do it to Shadowburn all the time, and he usually jumps right over it. Connor did get caught up in that Earth Shatter, though, so Factor Fiction, even though they got knocked down and not necessarily the giant cleanups, just negates ults that were looking to clean it up. A very late kill onto Sherlocky. I think it was probably a Fire Strike as he's taking a nap in the Villa now. He does get segmented off, and that's 2 quick kills outside of where you want to fight. That is really tough for FaZe. That's not how you want to start this defense.
No, not at all, and they were just a little bit over-aggressive, but here comes Too Easy with the nano-boosted whole hog. Gets hooked out of it by Connor, but still gets a key pickoff because, again, remember, if you're not flawless victorying this point, you're probably not taking it. So even as the offensive kingdom struggles, even as Jesus is moving in, it takes out Forsaken, it's probably all for naught here as the respawns will be coming in just a short moment.
Ajax should not have killed Shadowburn there. He had him completely frozen and he missed his Icicle. Shadowburn has better aim than that, and he gave up his life for it.
We gotta pause. Slasher.
Oh, that's on Slasher. I tried to hit it.
Slasher.
Control Shift plus.
Control Shift equals.
I'm here.
Control Shift equals.
Pause it.
Slasher, please.
Doesn't work.
Grego's coming. Okay, we got it.
Oh my god. Sorry.
Now, just bear in mind that Slasher was going to be in Grego's spot here, so I wonder if this is a little bit of, you know, just counter BM coming in from Slasher. All right, so are they ready for unpause?
The whole goal of this broadcast, I don't have to do anything.
Well, you got thrust into the role, Slasher. What can I tell you? Now, don't let your teammates on FaZe down. Well, teammates in spirit, I suppose. You play for them a lot, though. All right, so game is going to get paused. We're back in once more. Nano Boost coming out once more. Factor Fiction, though, going to be going on a ride towards the back. Mana Snow at the first pick off. Jesus on the Forsaken. Kingdom, though, still having issues dealing with this Blizzard. They've lost too many people. Jesus picks up the 3 kill, but without teammates to back it up, the respawns will be sealing this. It's
really
still
good for that.
This guy still whispering. And it still works out. The stall wasn't able to come back in time, so despite it being on the margin, despite being down people, it was Jesus' last few picks able to decisively take that for the side of Kingdom. It's been wild and zany, man.
Yeah, a lot of it was Jesus getting some nice kills. The Juvenile being very aggressive, landed his charge, was cleaned up after the fact, but it opened up some space for Jesus to get his Death Blossom started. Then they were able to clean up the remainder that was mostly too easy on the point, getting enough kills, and all good there.
So, how pleased do you think FaZe is with you right now, Slasher? Granted, Grego did get back in time. It probably wasn't the reason for them losing on that last push, but just throw that out there. That's a you might be getting some feedback there. You're lucky that Kai doesn't play for FaZe. That's all I'm saying. All right, Slasher has left us. Hopefully we don't need another pause.
I think they're about as happy as Kingdom was with Cloud9.
Well, take a look here. We are going now to FaZe's attack run here. Shadowburn probably not going to be in the Symmetra, so let's take a look here at the defense coming out here from Kingdom. It is going to be Jesus here on the McCree, Connor, Jay on the Roadhog, Juvenile going to be on Reinhardt, Ajax on the Lucio, Man of Snow on Winston, and Sherlock in the Ana. So pretty standard stuff coming out here, although I do like the defensive Winston, which is a little bit less standard, but when you think that there's a high probability of dealing with Shadowburn's Genji, every little bit helps.
An interesting defense here, though. They do seem to be very hesitant about ever running a Mei on these assault maps, and even when points really call for it. Anubis last, Hanamura first, Jesus is just going to stick onto his McCree, and his McCree's been fine, but at some point it might hurt them in the meta and counter-meta game. Shadowburn on this Widow, though. Really interesting.
So, we don't see Shadowburn on Widow too often. Normally, more in the projectile spectra of things. High risk, high reward. I kind of feel like this isn't going to work out, but I'm willing to believe. Still, though, 2 members diving in from FaZe immediately punished. Too easy, Factor Fiction down, and Connor pulling Shadowburn down to earth. Gonna take him out.
Interesting is one word to use, yes.
Well, it did not work
Shadowburn
out
immediately
at all.
says, enough of this. Doesn't even care that there's a Winston, just gets off Widowmaker. No crazy Widow plays coming out here, going out to Genji, but that, even looking for Widow picks, that was not super well coordinated. Even Shadowburn had got a pick out, I think that would have worked out, just because of what happened to Too Easy early on.
It was a weird dive in from Factor Fiction, went kind of alone and dove right onto a Roadhog. Not your ideal dive target there. Man of Snow goes deep in the back lines. They need to punish these tanks for kind of the overextension, but so far not. They're just going to be the opposite, in fact, as both tanks for FaZe go down early. There goes Grego with a late hook. This is a complete wipe, and the aggressive nature of Kingdom is coming to bear again. They're chasing really deep. They're fighting outside the arch, and I think it still catches a lot of teams off guard. You don't expect the fight to take place where Kingdom is forcing fights.
Messing with team's sense of timing is a really big deal. I think Kingdom is doing it better than most, and sure, at some point teams will wise up to it, but for now it's catching them off guard. But coming in from Connor once more, trying to regulate Too Easy in a bit of trouble. Has to get Zarya's shield to stay alive. Jesus, though, going to get picked up by Shadowbird, and look out, ladies and gentlemen, here comes the Dragon Blade. Shadowbird 99 HP, does not care, but Sherlocky with the left click and punch takes him out. However, not gonna matter, enough damage has been done. Raucous gets onto point off the 3K. And Ajax, he's buying time, but almost certainly not gonna be enough.
Well, it is just the Winston on the point trying to buy some time. Primal Rage will come out. I guess they do have hopes of at least making the clock run a little bit longer, and why not use it? You got 1,000 HP, might as well pop it around on the point. He's going to be finally taken out. Too Easy had to burn his ult to do it, though, because they want to make sure they get this capture. And Kingdom's a team that you don't want to let come back into the fight. They've shown time and again they can win fights that are against their favor, so they want to make sure that they secure that. They do so. Both support ults up for them, too. This might be their best chance. A lot of times on these assault maps, your first push onto last is your best one.
It kind of reminds me a little bit of Eichenwald last, the way so this works out. But you're right. The first push you get on the last is oftentimes very, very good. The defense has it reestablished, but Jesus, able to punish Factor Fiction there, takes him out. Shadowburn on the Juvenile, so both teams down their Reinhardts. But again, remember how this last point works. Still not the greatest here for the offense, but they do pick off the next few kills, and I think they've done enough where they have a real shot of taking this right here, right now. Shadowburn have the Dragon Blade here for the cleanup, and this is starting to look very good for FaZe.
Connor. He was discorded and focused for a long time. He gets 2 kills all by himself of the 2 people who were trying to kill him, and those could be decisive kills in this fight because, as you mentioned, any kill for the offense is way worse than for the defense. Factor Fiction out in No Man's Land trying to trade out. He does not, and they are able to reestablish on this defense because they weren't able to kill Connor when they had a great chance at him. Discorded, he's sitting there taking a breather. He drops off the top. They ignore him. He gets 2 hooks, 2 kills. Really changes the complexion of that fight.
That was sheer clutch coming out from the tanks of Kingdom there because Kingdom was in a terrible position. Connor had the come in big, but so did Juvenile. Take out Shadowburn right before he decided to go full-on slice and dice mode versus this Kingdom defense. But 4 minutes left here for FaZe. This is a lot of bonus time for them to really move in. Graviton surges out. Here comes Shadowburn. Dives in the back line, slicing into 3 people. Gets the immediate double kill, looking for more. Takes down 3. Too easy onto Jesus, and Winston, the last one remaining. It's Man of Snow versus the World. He doesn't have Primal Rage, so he's going to be able to delay this a bit.
No,
oh, no, he's not. No, he's not. He got too greedy. That could really come back to haunt Kingdom here as FaZe really starting to pile on the kills on this point. Soundbearer going to keep them up and alive, and Shadowburn might have a second Dragon Blade up in this fight in just a moment if he's able to stay alive.
Oh, he gets focused so hard, but his supports help him out. He gets the Zarya Bubble and the Harmony Orb, and he gets this second Dragon Blade off, picking off the back line. Here comes that aforementioned Primal Rage as the respawns continue. If they keep getting a couple kills, they're going to hold this. Connor, Jesus, combined for 3, they're going to hold here.
They do end up holding, but they give up 2 ticks in the process. They're lucky that they at least were able to do that with all the momentum that you did have coming out of FaZe. FaZe, going to the next fight, they're going to have Transcendence, not a whole lot else, but defense pretty drained on ultimates too, so biggest hope here for the defense is coming out with this Miracle Pulse Bomb pickoff where you look at how aggressive Kingdom likes to be. Wouldn't be surprised if Jesus just used the triple blink to go out and look for the stick. Goes on top of the roof here.
You want to force the Transcend in a bad situation. That's what he's looking for now. He's got that Zenyatta in his sights. All he wants is to stick him.
A little bit too nervous there for Jesus. Did not get the right pulse bomb. Missed the stick. And you take a look at this. Man of Snow gets caught out, so they just gave a free 6 versus 5 here to FaZe, and FaZe is about to cash in.
Happy to walk right through the front door. They're going to try to get their Tracer onto it too. Shadowburn is in a fight with Ajax up on the walls.
Transcendence out here for Forsaken. FaZe smelling blood in the water. Rocket's pretty close to having the Graviton. They pick up the first 2 kills. Transcendence was able to keep everyone alive. Man of Snow, all sorts of low HP right now, and they're not even able to get back on the point as people are alive. So 212 to 209, still relatively even times between the 2 teams.
Well, Rocket's doing pretty good on Zarya with Forsaken playing Zen.
Forsaken was not having a great Zarya evening for the most part. His basics were doing okay, allied shields and own shields, but you mentioned it time and again, his grabs necessarily weren't on point, and it is nice to have that versatility on your team that your flexes can play supports and your supports can flex into other stuff. So it has looked pretty decent for them. Rakas has had decent tracking as well on his Zarya, so your point is taken. Or is it a good point, or are you just trying to take another shot at Forsaken? That column A, a little bit.
It's a fair question, Slasher.
Noticeable that they're making the switch up instead of having Raucus play Zen, where I think he is probably pretty competent Zen, especially Grego can do it too. So they're deciding to put Raucus on Zarya instead of switching in Forsaken and Grego.
Yeah, fair enough. Sometimes you just don't have it on a certain hero some nights, and that's just how Overwatch goes, and at least you recognize it and switch off of it at the very least instead of overcommitting to it.
Generally, I like this. I like the idea that from the side of Kingdom, they were able to get through very quickly. Shadowburn's defensive Genji not working out too well. Now Jesus with the Pulse Bomb. Big opportunity to come in towards the backline. Soundbearer coming out here. And Kingdom, this is do or die here. Jesus going right back in. Forsaken going to fall. Both teams trading out kills. Defense, though, starting to turn back into favor. Shadowburn staying alive with no HP. Dragon Blade out. Will get the double kill. And FaZe going to buy themselves some very crucial time.
Yeah, it's just Shadowburn doing Shadowburn things, getting tons of kills, and yeah, that is extremely noticeable how well Raucus is playing now on Zarya. He gets a couple late kills of his own. So that's a pretty decent switch up for the most part. Yeah, I think BattleNet's go nuts too. I just had to, I don't know. Internet has been on the fritz.
This has been a bad day for the internet. That's all I have to say. The tubes have been clogged.
You need to, yeah, clean up
Another
the
worthy
series
quote from CP.
Look, it's a pretty good quote. Rip the late Ted Stevens. But Shadowburn coming in right now. It's a final fight on the way. Only 10 seconds remaining right now for Kingdom. Grouton comes in, pulls in 3. Jesus with the bang going in. It's going to be a double kill, and Kingdom now getting all the kills they need and more, and they might just get this final cap.
Well, Raucus doing a good job of at least tap dancing around the point, keeping his team alive in the overtime. They do stagger it as Shadowburn gets on there too, so if they get a couple kills, really nice positioning from them, able to keep them alive in this as Brago and Fact and Fiction come on. Here comes the Dragon Blade though for Connor, or at least the Ana boost, trying to get to his Dragon Blade, gets a couple kills.
Juvenile with the incredibly clutch leap and the send Reinhardt off on a trip. And just 1/3 away is Kingdom from putting another point on the board. This would be huge if they got Raucus, though, not giving in easily. He has the ground time, pulls in 3. No follow-up there for him, though, as the Sound Bear comes in for Kingdom, and Kingdom absolutely being impressive right now.
Fact Fiction's got to be careful to not charge off of this point and give it up. That overtime wick should be running very quickly as they try to get these last couple of ticks. Brago was left alone on that point. Now it is just Too Easy out there. Here comes Shadowburn with his Dragon Blade. Too Easy's going to get the kill on Sherlocky. Too Easy grabs a couple.
Too Easy does pick up 2, and the defensive phase at the 11th hour is coming right back in. Tracer Heroics coming in. Too Easy effectively getting 3 kills off this, looking for the 4th of Shadowburn. And the dream was almost real for Kingdom, but not real enough. FaZe gonna hold on at the last moment.
Too Easy just saved FaZe on that point. On the first attack at the very end, and then on the second attack, he got 1 kill and then 3 kills. Without Too Easy's heroics, it'll probably be 4-2 right now and put FaZe in a very bad position. But right now, FaZe has an opportunity to win, but it wouldn't surprise me if we get a replay of this map. Is that what it is? Is it a replay?
So the way it works in the rule set is that it's a draw and there'll be a replay if we have to come back to this map. It's not an immediate replay. It's one of those things where if we would go to the next map, which would be Dorado, and then if Dorado, we see that Kingdom is able to take it, then we would come back and replay Hanamura, and C9 would probably just be tearing their hair out because it wasn't supposed to be this long tonight. Well, I'm sure this is where Kai is gonna go message me something incredibly pithy, but never know.
Yeah. Well, Too Easy is in the game. Okay.
Suicide.
Okay.
Taking out the Zarya. Connor J going Roadhog. I think FaZe is gonna buy it.
It's tough to see. I mean, it's looking like they see how well the double flanker has been working out here for Kingdom. Why not try it themselves? They know that Too Easy could be a very good tracer under the right circumstances. They know Shadowbird, his Genji is fearsome. They're not necessarily going to say, oh, Connor J is a better Genji. No, they're proud of where Shadowburn is on all this. So you take a look at the defense. The defense is holding very far back. Not traditional Hanamura defense coming out at all.
Extremely spread out. Jesus is going to be up top, just trying to land shots in on McCree. Winston jumps in without even noticing him, does not get any shots in him. And Jesus now is starting to draw some fire, but he's put down so much damage already. Takes out Fact
taking down Fact Fiction towards the end. It's unconventional. It gives the offense more room to work with, but when you have double flanker, that's not necessarily what you want. You want to sort of catch people off guard from behind, but when everyone's already in the back, it's a little bit more complicated. So a little bit of meta here.
Yeah, Too Easy's going to check right side to see if he can get Jesus out of position there. So they are going to get in with these flankers so far.
Jesus, though, going to go down immediately. Fact Fiction, a worthy sacrifice to get rid of that McCree. Meanwhile, Shadowburn, uncontested here in the back. Though, as I say, that commentator's curse. Connor comes in with the hook, takes him out. And the defense a little bit bloodied here, but not broken. They're going to be able to push out the offense once more. And only a minute left. Remember, if they're able to full hold here, this will be Kingdom's map, and they're going to even up the series 2-2.
Yeah, probably one good push left in it. Shadowburn will have that Dragon Blade, and you will have Sound Barrier to go with it. So one last push for FaZe. That conviction
They
starts off
have the
killing
ult
Jesus.
advantage and Jesus is down. This is almost certainly going to be a cap here for FaZe. I can't see it going any other way. Now, who knows, maybe be heroics, but it's going to be rough, especially when that Dragon Blade comes right out. And here we go, Dragon Blade on the way, looking for the support in the back. Does take down Sherlocky, but is immediately taken out. Juvenile with heroics, with Connor here. The tanks of Kingdom coming in huge, and what a whole hog to regulate and control this fight. I don't believe that just happened, and yet it did.
When you can shut down Shadowburn like that, even though Ana was the primary target, she hit him with a fire grenade, got him down to 40 health, and of course unable to get any of those heals after the fact from it because he was hit with that grenade, so he was completely negated. The tank's staying alive, hitting the giant whole hog afterwards to push him in the corner. It is desperation time, but it looks like it as Sound Barrier comes out. Forsaken and Grego trying to dance onto the point. They will get booped off, and it is looking all the way bad for FaZe right now, as it seems like Kingdom wants to go to a map 5.
Again, FaZe had such a huge, overwhelming ult advantage to go into that. You would have thought it would have been, all right, just Sound Barrier in the Dragon Blade, let's go. They didn't go that smoothly into it. They held off on their ults for a while, and they created the opportunity for Kingdom to punish them, which they did. So now, there will be no draw. It's just going to be Kingdom winning, and we're going to be going to a final decisive map number 5.
Not only did they have ult advantage, but they killed Jesus. They killed the main thing.
Yeah,
that
it was a
gonna
65
stop
with
Shadowburn.
ult advantage. Exactly.
6-on-5 ult advantage, Trance, Sound Barrier, and Sword, and they can't get the point. Huge plays from Connor J and Juvenile to stop that. We are going to game 5. You still got to give the edge to FaZe because they are a very good Dorado team. As we saw earlier against Immortals, they can have quite a number of difficulty on this map, and you've got to give Kingdom a pretty good shot.
And get us back
Kingdom,
to the lobby.
again, they've just been a good tournament period and really starting to solidify themselves as one of the forces here in the NA scene. And again, it's really double story because, of course, you have Kingdom coming out of nowhere, you have Immortals taking a few steps forward, and all the rest. So it's been good storylines across the board. And now we're going to settle it all on Dorado.
A little bit surprising with the ult advantage they had. You'd think it just Sound Barrier and Dragon Blade had the had Genji Shadowburn had the Sound Barrier during that fight. That is completely different because he not super affected by the bio grenade then, because he's going to have all the shields on top of his health, does not need to get healed up. But the fact that he waited around the corner, actually switched for one of the very few times to the Genji cam, because I generally watch third person, and he was just hanging out around the corner. I don't know what exactly they're waiting for, but they had the ult advantage like you guys mentioned, but a miscoordination of those. You can't expect that you're going to just tiptoe through the raindrops as Genji and not need the extra health and things like that. I don't know why you don't go all in off the Blade of Shadowburn and use the ults in conjunction with that. It seems a little bit mistimed, miscoordinated there. So regardless, map 5 incoming, bonus Overwatch.
I mean, you are right about the grenade, even though they had Trance and Sword at the same time, but the grenade is so good, even in that combination, that it would have helped if they had Sound Barrier instead, and that was the key there. Now we go into Dorado. Will Shadowburn play Pharah Mercy, or will they stick on Genji? In theory, right, them playing Pharah Mercy was the right choice to make last time, because they were playing Reaper and Mei, and Hog is the only thing that could really deal with it, but they still weren't able to get much done. Jesus could be playing McCree out of the gate. They could be guessing that Kingdom will be running the Reaper out, but there's a very good chance that they will be doing McCree. I wonder what FaZe is going to be going for on offense. I think Pharah Mercy is still pretty viable here against what they're going to be going up against, especially because Kingdom has shown no sense that they're going to be running Zen in any of their comps today. But it didn't get any work done on Immortals. Do you take that chance of having to rely on Shadowburn to stay alive at the end, 1-on-5, and then Factor Fiction killing 3 people, and then finishing off the map? If I'm FaZe, I'm putting Shadowburn on Genji, even if Pharah Mercy makes more sense.
I think that makes sense overall. It's one of those things where the meta and how you've seen Kingdom react to the Pharah Mercy would say, look, run the Pharah Mercy. Unfortunately, Shadowburn is a good Pharah, but he's a phenomenal world-class Genji, so I agree. Putting him here on the Genji makes more sense. And it's right now when your tournament life is on the line, when $2,000 for your team is on the line, I think this is where you really do want to just lay it all out, put your absolute best shots on the table, work on your meta stuff later, but you have a tournament to win right now. You have a date with C9 that you want to attend just because you wouldn't miss any time you could spend with Kai Kai. So really for FaZe, they need... I just think they should go with what they're comfortable with.
Practice your meta and... Go ahead.
I was saying, I think Shadowburn's Pharah is like better than his Reaper. Even though he hasn't played it so much because it's been a long time since Pharah's been in the meta, his Pharah was always incredible. I don't necessarily think that going Pharah, like, it's that much of a drop-off for him. I would say it's his second best hero after Genji, even if you throw in Hanzo in there and Reaper and, you know, et cetera, that it's still good enough, but did it not work well enough at all last time that it's worth going to?
And teams are ready. I was going to say you leave the meta picks and those things for scrims when you really want to work on it now. And I've seen more teams than I'd care to recall throw games and maps by trying to overthink themselves and outthink themselves. And we have to run this on this map. This is what you do on offense on this map. Sometimes you just play your best heroes, and it has been very apparent tonight that across the board, when they need those clutch plays and they need wins, it's you put Shadowburn on Genji, and I don't know why they keep trying to outthink themselves. You even look back to something as recent as Ilios, where they ran that combo for a lot, and it was fine, and they were staying in it, and then they ran Shadowburn on Genji, and he got 3 kills out the gate. Like, I just don't think you need to outthink yourselves. This is arguably the most important match in the entire tournament. $2,000 on the line, go home with nothing. If you end up losing it, there is no time to work on your Pharah combinations here, especially when your Genji is just, I don't know, I feel it's inarguably the best Genji in the game right now.
Well, you take a look at the offenses up here, certainly he could still change before the ringer or the buzzer has been rung, but for now, he is looking like he wants to run the Genji, so perhaps realizing some of the stuff we've been saying. But take a look at the defense and what's going to be up against that Genji will be Juvenile here on the Reinhardt, Ajax on Lucio, Jesus going to be on the McCree, Connor J on the Roadhog, Sherwaki on Ana, and Mana Snow going to be on the Zarya. And Juvenile really far up right now. I'm curious if he's actually going to stay here. Is he just looking for an early charge and trying to get out? That's pretty risky. And yet, I'm going to be impressed if it works.
But of all of the Reinhardts we've seen play, I would not be surprised by Juvenile at all. And no, it's way too late. He can't go. He's all in on this strategy. Juvenile playing perhaps the most aggressive Reinhardt I have ever seen, and it's been fun to watch.
Oh my goodness, he's going for the early charge. Look at this. Suddenly, out of nowhere, takes Zarya on a ride, ends up going on a ride himself. All sorts of back and forth, and Forsaken is killed as a result, but the defense might be down 2 people hurry. Juno, though, actually able to live with all 51 HP. Oh my goodness.
Shadowburn does get a kill of his own, though. That is a really cool strategy, because what you want to do is bring them to your team and then just rejoin your team. It's a free pick if it works, but they did collapse on him and actually make him pay for it a little bit as well. Too easy gets a kill onto Ajax, so right now, FaZe with the advantage. They do get hit with a giant fire grenade, so Tactic is going to back out, but Forsaken taking out Juvenile. Again, the number is still in favor of FaZe.
Alrighty, so the fight is breaking down a little bit more. The offense trying to get things going. Here comes Shadowburn. Dragon Blade on the way. Takes down 2. Looking for 3. This is just a Shadowburn kind of thing. Ends up with the 4K.
Yeah, the Ana boost definitely helped him out. Maybe a little bit of overkill there, but it's not time to be taking chances on if you're going to win a fight or not. They want to decisively win it, and with how fast Ana and Shadowburn can charge their ultimates, not really that big of a deal to use those, even if you don't necessarily 100% need them. So they're in great position now. They're going to roll around this flank, which is interesting. They would just want to take the high ground right away. They are going to run into a Winston who's going to spot them out.
So, Mana Snow right now on this defensive Winston, just anything to slow down Shadowburn just a little bit. Oh no, Man of Snow getting hooked right down, having to leap away for his life. Oh, kind of getting wasted a little bit by 2. He's just trying to finish off the Winston there. Jesus with Deadeye over the top, finds Grego, takes him out. But he's in just awkward positioning. I'm not sure this is where he wants to be. Shadowburn in the back line, takes down Ajax, and this is all over the place right now, Hex.
It is just a brawl, but the numbers do favor right now Kingdom as they do use the Ana ultimate. Factor Fiction with an odd charge right into a wall. A beautiful sleep dart, though, onto Juvenile's going to negate most of that Ana ultimate, but Juvenile's upset he had to sleep so long. He's trying to get in for some more kills. Does take down Raucus, who was the applicator of that sleep dart.
Shadowburn right now going to the back. It is very back and forth between the two teams right now. Juvenile backing up a little bit. The defense, they don't want to give up too much ground here. They're going to reinforce in mode. Juvenile, remember how aggressive Kingdom Esports is. They about have an Earth Shatter up, and, well, if the opening didn't tell you, Juvenile likes getting pretty deep into the enemy line, so gotta expect that Earth Shatter to be coming out sooner rather than later. Here comes Shadowburn moving in. What? That is not the Earth Shatter he was looking for. Hex completely whiffs into the wall. Meanwhile, Sound Barrier, Dragon Blade came in from the offense. Too Easy picks up Juvenile off the distraction. 2 kills here, moving in. Jesus in the backline, though, and a bit of a strange fight, but it does look like it is going in FaZe's favor.
Shadowburn does finally clean up Jesus. He went all the way to the backline, ended up getting absolutely nothing. That is a beautiful Earth Shatter from Factor Fiction. Takes down both supports that Shadowburn was unable to get during his foray into the back lines. They are going to be able to reinforce here. They have 4 up, and there's going to be 3 tanks on this card. They're not going to give it up for free.
Pulse Bomb coming to the back. Juvenile getting exploded to the moon. 2 extra kills coming in from FaZe. Jesus in over the top, but his team dying all around him. I know that he's had heroics here tonight, but this would top them all if he somehow brought it back. He is all sorts of outnumbered on the point. Too Easy moving in and around. Just buying time. Is going to get bopped here. Ends up getting the 2K. Jesus right now being unleashed, dodges the Earth Shatter, but no, it is going to be Grego that ends his reign of terror there. Still, good run for the McCree. Soundbear can come out from FaZe, though, as FaZe continues applying the pressure.
Well, I don't know. Juvenile takes down Factor Fiction there. Can this Shadowburn get anything done? He gets hooked, left, deleted right away as they have this Winston in on this, and it looks like they are going to stabilize after mayhem for the last 2 minutes straight.
Really back and forth on both sides of the defense. Again, it was a heroic effort. It really looked like FaZe had all they needed to get through there, but Jesus was able to get some big kills, avoided the Earth Shatter, bought enough time for the rest of the team to get in, and now FaZe left with 2 minutes and an ult disadvantage to try and take this point, so not the best situation to be in.
Well, Connor hitting that really nice hook on Shadowburn while he was ultimate is pretty impressive. And Connor's been hitting good hooks all night, but there was none. There was going to be more pressure on him than that one. Juvenile gets this boost in, takes down his counterpart in Factor Fiction, looking for more. Does take down Shadowburn too, 6v4, as they continue to be the most aggressive team in this tournament on defense.
And this aggressiveness, I mean, it's something for other teams to take note. Oh my goodness, Juvenile just can't stop charging into Zarya. Forsaken lucky had the shield up there as that began, but I think going on with saying there is something to be taken here from how Kingdom is approaching the game, where they don't let their opponents get into a groove. They take fights in situations where the other team isn't expecting it, and they get a lot of free fights won as a result. And FaZe now on the wrong end of this, where they're down to 1:10 to take this point. Effectively, one good fight here with the ulti left. So, do have Soundbear coming in here from defense. Jesus, a little bit lost right now, almost full confused Travolta. Does find his way, though, back to the fight. Deadeye is up. Skull's coming up. Find Shadowburn at the very end, and that's, can't get a bigger kill than that. Ends up dropping down, gets a stun. And despite the weird beginning, it is going to be a hold once more for Kingdom.
Yeah, Factor Fiction used an Earth Shatter there, and as good as he has been through the last couple of sets and pretty much all through the tournament, that was not the best Earth Shatter there. Ended up getting very little out of it. They do have the saving grace here in their last push. It's going to be Raucus and Shadowburn, and we've seen that get a ton of work done. Shadowburn has to be careful, though. He cannot lose this duel. If they lose Shadowburn in the back lines, that's terrible. He does take down Jesus, so he gets some redemption for earlier duelings that he had lost.
Uh-oh. Nano boost in the Dragon Blade. Here we go. This one legendary combo already has 1 kill, picks up a second with the aid of Too Easy. 4 kills overall for FaZe, and FaZe should now be able to get second off of this. I mean, we've seen Crazy Delight come out before, but this would be something else with all 6 members of FaZe still up and living.
Well, Menace wanted no part of that fight because his job is just to hang out here and delay. A little bit too late as he jumps in. There's so many times I've seen Menace die whilst jumping as Winston. Raucus is going to pick up a couple of nice kills to get them a lot of space on this entry. They don't need to stick on the cart now because they have to wait for that door to open. Connor takes a breather right in the face of Factor Fiction, makes him pay for it, and they're being super aggressive on the offense now.
Yeah, the offense now for FaZe, they only have a minute left, so really, they have maybe 2 pushes left. That said, they have to wait for this gate to open up, so it's going to be close in any case. If they're going to wipe, they're going to want to wipe quickly, not linger around. Ult-wise, though, they will have Earthshatter and the Dragon Blade, so I gotta think they're just going to try and take it here and not wait too long, because now we're starting to get in the territory where if they do get back, it's not going to be good positioning. This is their last fight with solid positioning.
You want the Ana ult and you want Shadowburn to get his up too, and then you let Factor Fiction initiate it and open it. But you need that Ana ult. Raucus is so close to having it. That's what they're going to wait for. You can't lose anyone before this happens.
Shadowburn able to go to the back, forces out Jesus from his perch. And Dragon Blade is coming in, looking for it right now. On a grenade in the sound barrier though, going to stop Shadowburn from getting what he wants immediately. Still, enough of a distraction has been made. Still picks up the double kill towards the end. Hammer is down from Juvenile. Not enough though. Factor Fiction just withstanding, gets a double kill of his own, and now FaZe very close to finishing out this map, almost at the point they need to be, and I don't know if the defense is going to be able to stall this Hex.
Yeah, it was a 2-pronged attack. They actually used the Ana boost on 2easy on his Reaper, and then Shadowburn just went in old school without the boost, able to get a lot of kills on his own. 2easy's going to have Death Blossom trying to use it as a closeout, but the D.Va comes out, completely negates that. They are trying in desperation times to throw their tanks on it, but it is desperate times. I don't think it's going to be enough.
It is almost certainly not going to be enough. Another Earthshatter coming in there towards the end. And with no time left remaining, FaZe manages to finish out the map. And for how the defense of Kingdom was performing, FaZe is lucky to get away with that one. That last fight was not guaranteed in the least, and they were able to grid it out in the end. But props where props are due. Kingdom has put themselves in a great position now to win this map.
Yeah, I mean, FaZe won the first fight so cleanly, and that gave them so much time during the second phase. If Kingdom had won 1 or 2 fights in the very beginning, this would not have gotten even to the third point. So FaZe should be feeling pretty good, considering how poor that whole Streets phase was.
We have some credit to FaZe towards the end there, though. There are teams that you would have seen just use their ultimates with 40 seconds left and not in the right positions, not in the right combinations. They were patient with that push, making sure that they had all the tools they needed, knowing that they were not going to have another decent push into it, giving 2easy the boost onto his Reaper and distraction enough to really empower Shadowburn on his Dragon Blade ultimate as well. Worked out greatly for them, so at least recognizing the situation and adapting to it properly. I've seen teams blow this map by saying we only have this last push, use it before they're ready. That was some nice ult economy there to make that last push successful. And Factor Fiction is getting Earthshatter up every 15 seconds or so. It's incredible.
Alrighty, so take a look here at the defense as it sets up here for the side of FaZe. It will be Factor Fiction on that Reinhardt once more. 2easy looking for pickoffs on the Roadhog. Grego parkouring around on Lucio. Raucus just staying in the back and being nuisance on Ana. Shadowburn looking to make things chilly on Mei. And Forsaken, probably Slasher's favorite Zarya player today.
Maybe only like the most enormous Graviton, and he will redeem himself. It's, you know, it's not been the worst Zarya game I've ever seen, but it's, you know, he's had some misthrown ults.
Forsaken in general plays quite well. I mean, there has been a few ults that have been questionable, but give him credit as due. Definitely don't think him being in Zarya is a bad choice. So right now, both teams just trying out poke to start things off. We'll see how the offensive Kingdom wants to approach this. Jesus already moving up here to the high ground, going to be coming in off the flank while the main force comes in from the middle, but this is still a little bit... Oh, he's looking for the second teleport, so this is a little bit risky if he gets caught, but he still might be going for it anyways, and there he goes. Planning his way into back and just goes straight in on the Zarya. Zarya's shield gonna give her a little bit of survivability as Jesus takes a nap in the back.
Grego's got to be a little bit careful, a little too far up front right now as they try to clean up the remainder of these tanks, Man of Snow and Juvenile. Not long for this world. Maybe Man of Snow gets out. Yes, he does, but they clean up absolutely everything else. They did end up rotating kind of a muddled push there as they were looking to go in squad side on the left and right, kind of a two-pronged attack. It is something Kingdom has done all night. They have these set pieces where they run like 2 heroes to one side, 4 on another, and they've executed them rather well. That one did not work out, though. They're going to try a different approach as Jesus gets into another position on the stairs. By 2easy, though.
Where Jesus is right now, and again, 2.5 minutes left here, so this is still dangerous for Kingdom. They can't take anything for granted. It can be very easy to get into a hole. Forsaken with this ult bank, going to open up here with the Graviton. And right now, to see Shadowburn and Factor Fiction cleaning up the remnants right now, so this fight works out very cleanly for FaZe. Of course, they had a whole lot of ult invested in it, so it by right should have worked out.
They used nearly everything except for Factor Fiction. Look at all those percentages, down to 20% at its highest, and they know that on the other side, and they know that they're going to have 5 ultimates at the ready. This, by all accounts, should be a fight that Kingdom wins.
All right, well, 1:50 left, and this is probably do or die for Kingdom here. If Kingdom throws in their ults and they don't get this point, they are in real danger of losing this map right here, right now. So, all eyes on Jesus right now. Sound Barrier, Death Blossom, Nano Boost up. How many will he get? Goes to the backline, takes out Forsaken. Chasing down Grego. Grego booping away. Desperately trying to live. Gives him a little bit of Razzle Dazzle. Is still alive. However, unfortunately for Grego, most of his team is dead all around him. Shadowburn, really out in the middle of nowhere, off on an island, ends up dying as well. So that was a must-win fight for Kingdom with all their ults that they invested in. They do deliver, so they stay alive here in Dorado.
Well, Shadowburn does have his Blizzard up. It's the only notable ultimate at the ready. Too Easy's going to have his momentarily. Factor Fiction takes a little too far of a step, ends up getting hooked down and eliminated by Jesus. So that is a tank shield, or a shield tank rather, down. They're just going to go all in on this and throw the Blizzard on the card, try to clean up in the back line as the remainder of the tanks were pushed too far forward.
Shadowburn looking for a little bit of revenge here, and I gotta say, Shadowburn has had some moments on his Mei, but I still, it just feels like there's other characterizations there on. Not that Mei is bad here on a meta level, but just hasn't been as impressive as Juvenile, treating him to hammer time. Going for another dash, doesn't even care that his team is dying all around him. Juvenile still out for blood. However, defensive phase for now holding strong. I
was going to be very surprised if Shadowburn stayed on the main now, because she's fine on first point, definitely meta pick on first point, but there is absolutely no reason to continue to run her on second point unless you run just a very top tier Mei, which I don't think he does just yet. He is going to switch to a Reaper instead, try to deal with this triple tank composition that Kingdom has been running at them.
Well, 2.5 minutes remaining. Kingdom, their ult bank is just about full. They're going to open up here with the Graviton. Graviton's on both ends right now. Jesus moving in with the late teleport. Not in position to drop the Death Blossom as Shadowburn, just wrecking into the backline. It's effectively taken out 2 here thus far. Sound Barrier out for the offense, but they don't really have much to go with it, and they're getting torn apart by this FaZe defense. Shadowburn picking up yet another, looking for Lucio at the end, and decisive fight for the defense here, where the offense burned a lot of ultimates for nothing.
I like this, though, that they're not going all the way back. Some teams would try to rotate all their tanks back to the stairs and get up top and have that position. They're playing into Kingdom's game right now. Kingdom wants to have a little muddled scrap on the lower level here and just have everyone go at it. They're fine. They're going to play that game with them.
All right, you take a look at Jesus right now. Jesus holding on to the Death Blossom. And with 1:43 left, this Beyblade combo that's going to come in, it needs to be huge. Jesus goes in, does eventually pick off Factor Fiction, basically set up for 2 kills, looking for the 3rd in the back. And if he gets a 3K, that qualifies as huge. That is what was needed. If Kingdom didn't get that, they'd be in rougher straits, but oh my goodness. Shadowburn in the back here with Raucus. One good Nano Reaper combo deserves another. And that might be mitigating all the work that Jesus just did.
Raucus is just feeding him health constantly, and it does not seem fair. Raucus, he got credit for a couple of those kills early because he was just picking people up after he threw the boost on him, kept him alive during that. Raucus's Ana is just a thing of beauty at this point in time.
Well, right now, this is the final minute countdown. Kingdom Esports, their tournament life now on the line. This fight is a must-win in all senses of the word. However, the defense, they can open up with the Sound Barrier. Mana Snow, gonna need a big Graviton here. Grabs 3. Sound Barrier, though, comes in. Is it going to be enough? Jesus and Connor, they follow up the Graviton, they get 2 to start things out, but the counter Graviton now out from Forsaken, pulling the majority of the enemy team. They take out Juvenile, and FaZe not going quietly right now, fighting right back against Kingdom. And for Kingdom, they can't back down. If they lose this fight, they're almost certainly going to be losing this game, and they'll be out.
Sound Barrier comes in and they do boost the Roadhog. Connor J grabbing 2 kills, taking down the tanks and everyone who was remaining. This should be Kingdom getting this point with not a second to spare, as they are down to 5 seconds here. They will continue on the chase as this Tracer goes in, tries to create some space for their team. Has to be careful to not get picked off, but they're doing the picking. Takes out Shadowburn in this. Look how aggressive this offense is.
Kingdom exploding onto that point, going right in to this FaZe backline, not going quietly, and it's Connor J with that nano boost combo, really the main impetus for that degree of space, but only a minute 12 left. This is still do or die right now. Mana Snow has built up another Graviton, but you take a look at the defensive war chest. Earth Shatter, Nano Boost, and of course Death Blossom on the way. They have to somehow neutralize Shadowburn here. They can't let Shadowburn spin into them, otherwise it's going to be GG. Here we go, Sound Bear's out here for Shadowburn. Counter Graviton is out. Shadowburn, though, able to get to the backline. Death Blossom comes in, no Nano Boost with it. Only picks up 2 as a result, so the dream still alive for Kingdom, though they are down quite a few people as respawns will be coming in, but the team wipe is up. Is it going to be enough, X? They're almost there. Defense. Close. It's going to be really close if they could get in there. Raucus, though, of all people, the Ana will get the stall, makes enough time for Forsaken, and here comes the Cavalry. FaZe pushing Kingdom out here. Kingdom, only 20 seconds remaining.
Raucus is, if they win this, he's the MVP. That's just so smart to come out on that side and get the stall out. He also was very patient on his boost there towards the end, waited for Shadowburn to be the one in sight rather than panicking and throwing it on someone else like Tracer. So he was able to just really gut it out. Can Juvenile come in here at the last second to charge it? It's going to be all for naught as they clutch it out towards the end. Raucus played an amazing Ana game.
Final score.
It was a great game for Raucus, just supporting his team all the way across the board, even getting the vital delay at the very end. And just like that, Kingdom will be going home, but what a showing from Kingdom, keeping it exciting to the very end. But we do know what our grand final is going to be. It is going to be Cloud9 taking on FaZe. Cloud9 looking to win yet another monthly melee. As Jesus says, as a parting shot, good luck. You all can do it.
I mean, you are right, Hex. Raucus and Shadowburn with huge plays during the second point of that game is really what held it on for Cloud9. Sorry, for FaZe. Now I'm you, CP. But because they lost 3 at the beginning of that team fight, and then Raucus was able to nano boost Shadowburn. He gets 1, and then a huge nade from all the way across the bridge onto the floor kills 2. He's able to keep Shadowburn alive. Shadowburn kills 2 more. Raucus kills the last one. If they don't win that fight, then there's probably another minute or extra, maybe 2 for Kingdom to finish out the map. And then at the very end, Raucus staying alive, able to Ana boost Shadowburn again to close out the map. Some sick plays from Raucus has set up a rematch for the grand finals of FaZe versus Cloud9.